My daily life in a TV series. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 451, Thousands of Roads. Peggy's apartment. Outside the living room, Adam and David were talking and laughing. In the bedroom, Linda looked helpless. Her daughter did such a thing, and she was caught by her, but she didn't feel embarrassed at all. On the contrary, she gradually became embarrassed from the initial anger in front of her daughter with a calm expression. "What is this, Peggy?" Linda pondered. "What's going on between you and Adam? Didn't Mom see it?" Peggy looked at her in surprise. "It's just a pure indescribable relationship." Linda opened her mouth wide, stunned. Over the years, she has been accompanying her daughter to study. In her mind, her daughter is a child that makes her proud, but she never thought that she had only been pursuing love for a few months, and such explicit words came out of Peggy's mouth. This made her a little unacceptable. "Did he say that to you?" Linda reacted and gritted her teeth. "Adam, this bastard, actually dared to treat her precious daughter like this. Too arrogant." "No." Peggy shook her head. "I took the initiative to find him. Mom, you know, I only have 1.5 friends, and Sheldon is always a neutral wooden kid. I have no choice but to find the other half." "But you are a girl. You will suffer a lot this way." Linda wasn't angled. "Suffer a loss?" Peggy blinked. "Mom, remember that my research was stuck a few months ago?" After recruiting Adam, my thoughts immediately became clear, and the road ahead was clear. He is my muse, providing me with a constant stream of scientific inspiration. If there is a loss, it should be him. How can I suffer a loss? You can't say that." Linda didn't know whether to laugh or cry. She understood what her daughter meant. For her daughter, who was devoted to studying mathematics and science, nothing was more important than scientific research. Adam could provide her daughter with a constant stream of inspiration. For her daughter, this was the biggest gain. The ordinary relationship of taking advantage of and taking advantage of men and women was indeed not applicable to her unique daughter. But understanding is understanding. As an ordinary person, she still felt that Adam took advantage of her and was very unhappy. "Peggy, how about I stay and accompany you?" Linda thought about it and said hesitantly, "No need." Peggy shook her head. "I have Lisa. You can accompany Uncle David. It's not good to have too many people in the apartment." Linda felt so tired. "She is her biological mother." "Who is Lisa?" "Adam's assistant." Peggy said naturally. "She is my assistant now and handles all the chores." "He also hired an assistant for you?" Linda said with a complicated look. "Peggy, you are the youngest mathematician in history. As long as you ask, you don't need to rely on him at all. The school will arrange an assistant for you." "Lisa is very capable." Peggy shook her head. "With her here, I save a lot of trouble. The assistants arranged by the school can't do this." Linda was stunned, then looked around the bedroom, and then she found that the bedroom had changed a lot. Low-key luxury emanated from every detail. She immediately understood why Lisa was so capable. Adam is willing to spend money. This discovery made her both relieved and worried. She was relieved that Adam cared. "What I am worried about is how long Adam can care about her." "What are your plans?" Linda asked seriously. "What plans?" Peggy asked in surprise. "You are not going to say that Adam and I will get married? Since you like him and he likes you, it's already like this. What's wrong with getting married?" Linda asked back. "And then like you and Dad, quarreling and finally getting divorced?" Peggy said calmly. "I'm not interested. It takes too much time and energy. Marriage is a boring shackle that restricts many scientists from taking a step forward. If Einstein didn't have 2 wives and multiple lovers, he would have spent so much time and energy on his teacher's daughter, college classmate, his cousin's daughter, and secretary. The unified field theory might have been perfected long ago, and we might have been flying in the universe in a curvature spacecraft. If Schrödinger had so many wives and lovers, he would have spent so much time and energy on female students, actors, and office workers. If he had hired an experimental assistant who could really help him, instead of just hiring the experimental assistant because he liked his wife, He might have told us whether Schrodinger's cat is dead or alive. Marie Curie. Okay. Linda had a headache after hearing this, and raised her hand to interrupt. Don't say more. I understand what you mean. The bedroom was quiet for a while. Linda recalled Peggy's words in her mind, and the self-blame in her eyes was about to overflow. It's all her fault. No, blame it on that bastard Barry. If he hadn't insisted on arguing with her, saying things like you care too much about your daughter, you've invested all your love in her, and you didn't leave me any, exposing the ugly side of marriage to her daughter, how could she have such extreme thoughts? Damn it, Peggy is also your daughter. I love your unique daughter who needs extra care with all my heart. Is that wrong? Then she thought of Adam's current profession. Damn doctor. When Peggy was 11 years old, she and Barry divorced. From then on, she took Peggy to school alone. It is very likely that Peggy subconsciously got close to Adam, who has the same profession as her father, because of the lack of fatherly love. Thinking of Adam's mature temperament and thick skin that even middle-aged people who have been struggling in society would be ashamed of, Linda blamed herself more and more and felt sad. She didn't like Peggy and Adam to get along in this way without a future, but the scene of Peggy abandoning herself because of their divorce came to her mind again. She didn't dare to say more of these harsh words. Alas, Linda sighed, you are still young, so there is no rush. But if you want to continue to get along with Adam, don't accept his money. Only when there is no money relationship between the two parties can they truly get along equally. This is the bitter experience she has gained from being a housewife for many years. Why did she endure so much for so long? It was because she had no source of income and relied on her husband. I didn't ask for anything. Peggy frowned and said, no one owes anyone anything. We are very equal. She didn't care about such trivial matters at all. It's good to have it, but it doesn't matter if there is none. She really doesn't think it's a big deal. Just like Adam named the formula, she was deducing the Duncan Adler formula directly. They are all casual things. It's no big deal. How can the wind flag move if the heart doesn't move? Linda was speechless. In the end, she could only remind some safety points. Peggy was only 18 years old and had just become an adult. It was actually nothing to be with Adam for a few years without knowing what was going on. Many scientists got married in their 30s. Peggy had plenty of time to wait for what would happen in the future. But the premise is to take safety measures and never cause any loss of life. Chapter 452 Mr. Duncan. Peggy's apartment. After Linda asked about some security details, she came out of the bedroom with a bad look on her face. But her daughter's expression was too natural, so she couldn't say much, and could only glare at Adam after coming out. Miss Watson, I have asked Lisa to book dinner. Let's eat together later, Adam invited with a smile. No appetite. Linda frowned in disdain. David, let's go. I'm a little hungry. David and Adam had a good chat. Besides, Adam and Peggy were a perfect match in his eyes. He didn't want his lover and Adam to be in a stalemate, and he and Peggy would be in the middle, so he tried to smooth things over. Why don't we eat together to save waste? Linda was angry, but when she met her lover's eyes, she could only stay helplessly. Middle-aged passionate love is not as spoiled as adolescent first love, and knows how to compromise and be considerate. In front of the younger generation, especially in front of her daughter Peggy, Linda was very careful to save face for David. Lisa is the assistant you gave to Peggy. Let's have her dinner together later. After Linda reluctantly accepted such a confusing account, she wanted to investigate Lisa, who was replacing her in disguise. Okay. Adam naturally didn't say anything and called Lisa to inform her. Then the scene became quiet again. Peggy ignored the three people and sat back at the desk, busying herself with her own things. Linda thought of the conversation with her daughter and frowned and didn't want to talk. Adam, I heard that you are a writer? David broke the silence again. Part-time writer. Adam knew David's good intentions and smiled. I started writing after graduating from high school, mainly to achieve financial freedom. My goal has always been clear, to be a doctor who can cure diseases and save lives. Now I am a surgical intern at the New York Medical Center. New York Medical Center? David was surprised and said, the New York train derailment tragedy that was reported all over the TV today. It seems that the injured were sent to the New York Medical Center? Yes. Adam nodded. Originally, We had worked for more than 10 hours. In the early hours of the morning, I was driving to Peggy's place. You come here every night? Linda interrupted in shock. Peggy is still young. How can you? Obviously, in the process of passing on safety knowledge between mother and daughter, Linda had mastered some unspeakable inside information, and was deeply worried about Adam coming here every night. Everything is too much, and happiness is the same. No, Adam hurriedly explained. Interns are too busy. How can I have time to come here every day? I only come here every Sunday. These days, Peggy and I have an academic paper collaboration, so I sacrificed my rest time and rushed here overnight. Academic paper collaboration? Linda's face eased a little. Adam explained the whole story of the Duncan Adler formula. I see. Linda looked much better. It turned out that her daughter also gave a lot of rewards. It seems that both sides are indeed equal. You were originally going to come here in the early morning, and then you received the news of the train derailment? David smiled and brought the topic back. Yes, Adam nodded. The hospital got the news and immediately called all of us back. We mobilized everyone to welcome batches of accident victims, and then we were busy until 9 o'clock and just finished. We didn't have time to eat. Being a doctor is really not easy. David sighed. Indeed, Adam said, I have more energy, so it's okay. My colleagues worked for 40 hours in a row. When they rested, they fell asleep in the duty room without paying attention to the blood and dirt on their bodies. Some were so sleepy that they didn't want to move and just lay down on the gurney in the corridor to sleep. In that case, why do you insist on being a doctor? Linda asked puzzledly. You are so rich and write well. Why don't you be a famous and profitable professional writer with free time? Adam's mouth twitched. If Linda's words were coupled with Adam's good looks and gentleness, it would be like treating Adam as Mr. Duncan. Doctors can cure diseases and save lives, Adam said righteously. Today I saved 9 critically ill patients, 6 of whom were seriously ill. I am more delighted than when I earned my first $1 billion. This is my lifelong pursuit, just like Peggy's persistence in mathematical science. Afterwards, the system's intensive reminders plus 0.01 times 9 plus 0.005 times 6 equals 0.12 years, 43.8 days. Only 0.8 days were consumed, and the remaining balance was a pure increase in lifespan of 43 days. Such a large increase in lifespan is so joyful and fascinating, but outsiders don't know this. David, Linda, both of them were speechless. Even if David admired Adam, he inexplicably suspected that Adam was pretending. Linda was impressed by the consistency of Adam and Peggy's pursuit of career, and was shocked by Adam's first $1 billion. The first $1 billion? How much money did you have? Haha. Adam smiled reservedly. When money reaches a certain level, it is just a bunch of numbers and has no meaning. I don't care about this, so I don't know the specific number. David's mouth twitched. He was now sure that Adam was just pretending, but considering the situation, it was reasonable for Adam to show off in front of Peggy's mother. He didn't say anything. Is writing books so profitable? Linda believed it and said in shock, it's okay. Adam explained, the first $1 billion was indeed the biggest part of the money earned from writing books, but most of the money behind was a capital game of making money from money. What matters is the thickness of capital and the accuracy of vision. Linda looked at David hesitantly. She knew that David was starting a business now and lacked capital. If someone invested, the road to entrepreneurship would be much easier and smoother. But she just reminded Peggy not to have financial interests with Adam. David understood and immediately shook his head gently with a firm look in his eyes. The reason why he started a business was that he didn't want to be bound. He believed in his own abilities and enjoyed the process of starting a business. Besides, he truly loved Linda, and therefore cared deeply about Peggy. Naturally, he also understood the necessity of equal interaction between men and women without economic disputes. He didn't want Linda to ask Adam to invest for him. Adam also noticed the change in their eyes and understood their thoughts, so he pretended not to know. I actually like reading books, too. David smiled and changed the subject. My favorite writer is Jane Austen, the author of Pride and Prejudice. Adam nodded. She wrote a famous work that has been circulated around the world for more than 100 years. It is indeed very influential. Yes, David smiled and said, but compared to the widely circulated Pride and Prejudice, I prefer her other novel Emma. Emma. Adam was startled, and glanced at Linda Watson, with a strange expression. Chapter 453 Proposal Peggy's Apartment. Listening to David's enthusiastic description of the novel Emma, Adam's expression was very strange, because he was very sensitive to this name and surname. If David and Linda got married and had a girl in the future, would they name her Emma Watson? Think about it. The Emma Watson in my memory looks very similar to Peggy. If they are half-sisters, it would be very reasonable. But now it is 1998, and the magic princess Emma Watson in my memory should have been born in England a long time ago. Adam can only dispel this funny association. Normally, a daughter still takes her father's surname. If David and Linda really have a daughter in the future, it is estimated that she will only be called Emma Grossman. Knock, knock. While Adam and David were discussing the plot of the novel, there was a knock on the door. Adam got up and looked outside through the peephole. Seeing Lisa and a female bodyguard carrying a large food box, he opened the door. It is better to be safe than sorry. Even with security, Adam was always on guard against the risk of being machine-gunned as soon as he opened the door. Lisa and the female bodyguard skillfully arranged the table, and then brought out plates of exquisite food from the food boxes. Champagne and red wine were also arranged. After everything was arranged, Lisa asked the female bodyguard to leave and looked at Adam. David, Linda, let's have dinner. Adam invited. In the United States, after the relationship is close, there is no distinction between elders and juniors, and everyone calls each other by their names. David did ask Adam to call him that, but Linda didn't. But Adam directly acquiesced that Linda agreed. Peggy. Linda glared at Adam unhappily, turned her head and prepared to call her daughter over, but just stayed there. But Lisa went over and whispered a few words in Peggy's ear. Peggy got up and walked over. Arrived at the dining table, Lisa pulled a chair for Peggy, and after Peggy sat down, she took out a white napkin and wrapped it around Peggy's neck. She also poured a little red wine into the goblet in front of Peggy, and then helped Peggy deal with the seafood, picking out the meat and sending it to Peggy's plate. Peggy skillfully enjoyed these very luxurious delicacies. One made it naturally, the other received it naturally. Obviously, this was not the first time, not even once or twice. Linda, the biological mother, couldn't help but feel mixed emotions. She now understood what Peggy meant by Lisa did better. Such considerate service, even she, the biological mother, couldn't do it. Damn rich people. Isn't this destroying the unique blood relationship in the world? Because if it were her, she would also want this kind of life. It was a delicious meal, but Linda didn't feel good, especially when communicating with Lisa about taking care of Peggy. She bitterly discovered that Lisa didn't need her to tell her much, and this sour feeling was even stronger. Let's go. After the meal, Linda said, a little disappointed. She and David were in love. So although Peggy's apartment had 2 bedrooms, they had already booked a room at the hotel before they came. Do you mind if Peggy and I chat alone? David suddenly said. Of course. Linda was stunned. Adam looked at David, and his heart moved. He nodded and said, Linda, let's go to Lisa's apartment. She lives across the street. The 3 of them left Peggy's apartment. Adam winked at Lisa. Lisa understood, opened the door for Adam and the others, and stayed at the door, listening to the movement across the street. No matter how good the impression David gave people, he should have the necessary safety awareness. Lisa's apartment. Did you rent this specifically for Lisa to take care of Peggy? Linda walked around the apartment and sighed. It's not rented. Adam shook his head. I've bought it. Linda paused. Damn ugly capital. It is always tempting people to degenerate and decay. Adam, what is your attitude towards Peggy? Linda was silent for a moment, then asked seriously. Adam hesitated. More than friends, less than lovers? Linda's face darkened. Don't think that she doesn't know what this means just because she's old. The main reason is that we're all too young. Seeing that Linda was about to lose her temper, Adam quickly explained. Peggy is busy with research, and I'm also busy with residency training. Without 5 or 6 years, I don't have the energy to talk about other things." Linda was speechless, because this was also the conclusion she came to after asking Peggy. "Don't hurt her," Linda said helplessly. "Don't worry," Adam said seriously. "I will never hurt her." "Is there anything else I need to know?" Linda's face looked much better, and she tried to talk to Adam nicely. No matter how unhappy she was, Adam was Peggy's choice, except for some aspects that she was a little worried about. Adam had nothing to say about everything. "I also bought the apartment downstairs and arranged a bodyguard." Adam thought about it, and still told her some of his arrangements and told her the reasons. "No way." Linda was shocked and said, "Is it so scary in college?" "We have never encountered it, because Peggy is a celebrity." Adam explained, "She goes to the same place every day, doesn't go out to play, and you are always there to accompany her. It is normal that she didn't encounter it, but she doesn't need this little money, so it's better to be safe than sorry." Linda was dumbfounded, and after a long while, she smiled bitterly and said, "You, take care of it." Adam did everything she could think of, couldn't think of, and couldn't do. What else could she say? "Boss, Mr. Grossman has finished talking to Peggy, and let you go." Lisa came over to remind him. "Okay." Meeting Lisa's eyes, Adam had guessed what happened, and stretched out his hand to signal Linda to go in front, and he and Lisa followed behind. Linda pushed open the door of Peggy's apartment, and the light had changed, and it was much dimmer. David stood there, facing the door, his eyes full of love. Linda was stunned for a moment, and her heart began to beat violently. David slid forward, a few steps forward, knelt on one knee in front of Linda, looked at her affectionately, and slowly took out a ring box from his pocket while saying the classic line, "Linda Jane Watson, will you marry me?" OMG. Linda could only cover her mouth and exclaim, "I have obtained Mr. Watson's permission in advance, and just got Peggy's blessing." David said affectionately, "Linda, will you be Mrs. Grossman?" In the United States, men who are more particular about marriage proposals must obtain the consent of the girl's father in advance. For example, Sheldon was forced to propose to Amy's father on the way before being forced to travel thousands of miles by a kiss from his admirer. After Amy's father agreed, he knocked on Amy's door and knelt on one knee to present the engagement diamond ring. Otherwise, with Sheldon's personality, if Amy's father did not agree, he would definitely not propose. Of course, if that were the case, Amy's father would be miserable. Not only would he have to put up with a controlling wife, but he would also have to put up with an angry daughter. He wouldn't even have a place to hide from his wife in the future. David was even more particular. He not only asked for permission from Peggy's grandfather in advance, but also asked Peggy, Linda's daughter, in advance. Obviously, David, who had just started a business and was very busy, did not leave his work for no reason and suddenly come to see his lover's daughter at this time with his lover. His purpose was very clear. He came here to ask for Peggy's consent and then propose to Linda. P.S. Thanks to G. King me and can I feel along for the reward. Chapter 454 Peggy's Heart. Peggy's apartment. Yes, yes, yes. Linda knew that important things should be said 3 times. David put the diamond ring on Linda's left ring finger, then stood up and hugged the excited Linda, creating a classic American TV drama scene. Papa. As a daughter, Peggy was indifferent, so Adam had to applaud and congratulate. Then, Adam had to stop clapping and coughed heavily to remind them, because if they continued, they would either suffocate or it would be really inappropriate for children. David first recovered from the atmosphere and let go of his fiancée. Linda ran to Peggy and hugged her. At this moment, she especially liked hugging, and she had to have someone in her arms. Peggy patted Linda's back with both hands, put her neck on Linda's shoulders, and smiled lightly. "As long as you are happy, congratulations." Adam thanked David. "Thank you." David, with thick eyebrows and big eyes, also showed his joy. "I'm engaged." After a long time, Linda let go of Peggy, holding up the diamond ring in her hand, showing it off, excited. "Is it beautiful?" "Beautiful." Adam and Peggy nodded. "I'm starting a business, so it's a little small, and it's not from Tiffany." David felt a little sorry that he couldn't give his fiancée the best. No. Linda shook her head again and again. "This is the biggest and most beautiful diamond ring I've ever seen." Then the two began to look at each other affectionately. "David, if you knew me in advance, it would be completely different," Adam complained in his heart. "I would let you spend the same money, and the diamond ring you gave away would be bigger and more beautiful." People and trees weakly sang, "Diamonds are forever, and one will be passed down forever." That was just a random song during dinner. Plastic bags can be passed down longer than diamonds. If David knew him and asked for his opinion before buying a diamond ring, he would definitely recommend the clever guy Leonard's method. First, go to the hardware store and buy a diamond drill bit, the large one. Then take the diamond off the drill bit, find a ring shop, set the big diamond on the ring, and then buy a Tiffany diamond ring box. Finally, the expensive large-carat diamond ring produced by Tiffany made its debut. As long as you are like Leonard, you will never admit that this is a diamond drill bit. Then the one on your fiancé's hand is the brand-name large-carat diamond ring that you spent all your money on when you had arterial bleeding. That's right. Adam doesn't believe that the diamond ring Leonard gave Penny is really made by Tiffany. Even if Leonard denied it 3 times in a row, his attitude was natural and sincere enough. But Adam believes that the honest Sheldon will not lie. Leonard, a science and engineering man, can definitely do such a thing. First of all, he was not blinded by those advertisements. For him, diamonds and diamond drill bits are actually the same thing. He would be stupid to spend more than 10 times the price to buy it. Secondly, Leonard is very poor and has no money to buy such a big diamond ring. Besides, wouldn't it be nice to save money to attend the anime festival and buy figures? Adam actually agreed with Leonard's approach. After all, the myth of diamonds was about to be shattered on the eve of Adam's time travel. A few minutes later, Linda and David left. According to the classic American TV show, they need a room. Adam pulled Peggy into the bedroom. In the middle of the night, Adam didn't smoke or drink in his previous life. As a doctor in this life, he knows the harm of smoking even more, so he doesn't smoke. Although Peggy once learned to smoke a few cigarettes to be cool when she wanted to degenerate, after being persuaded by Adam to return to the right path, she was only interested in science, and even Missy quit, let alone smoking. Therefore, there was no smell of smoke in the bedroom. "Are you worried?" Adam said with his eyes closed. "How do you know?" Peggy asked. "Haha." Adam couldn't help laughing. "Although I'm just an intern, the legendary doctors say that I'm now comparable to a new attending physician in cardiothoracic surgery. As cardiothoracic surgeons who play with hearts every day, we naturally know the most about heart matters, not to mention that I'm holding your heart now." Peggy ignored Adam's flirting, and didn't even make a beautiful heart gesture to Adam. She just frowned and said, "Adam, do you believe in love?" Obviously Linda is about to remarry. She looks like she doesn't care at all, but she is still a little upset in her heart. Adam can easily diagnose this with one hand. "I don't really believe it." Adam didn't continue to flirt, and said thoughtfully, "Love at first sight is just the attraction of hormones. I believe more in the kind of feelings that are mixed together with friendship, family affection, and love, that is, love that grows over time." "I don't believe it either," Peggy said lightly. "I believe that my mother was also so excited and happy when she got engaged to my father, but what was the result? The so-called love has a cycle. After the initial passionate period, love dies. It's just another meaningless cycle with another person, and it repeats over and over again." "Don't be so pessimistic," Adam advised. "Things are not always like this." "Oh, then how long can my mother and David's love last?" Peggy sneered. Adam was silent. "Who can say for sure? Maybe a few months, maybe a few years, and of course a lifetime." If it were any other girl, Adam would give an answer casually. But Peggy is obviously not an ordinary girl. For her, a casual answer is an insult to her IQ. "Your mother's happiness is the most important thing now." Adam smiled and said, "Isn't it?" "Maybe." Peggy's voice was a little low. "My mother delayed for me for 6 or 7 years, otherwise she would have been like my father, who got married again within a year of divorce." "Have you seen your father in these years?" Adam became interested when he saw that Peggy wanted to talk in the middle of the night, which was rare. You know, before, she always fell asleep first, leaving Adam, who was energetic and wanted to continue communicating. Whether it was physical communication or spiritual communication, It was impossible. The relationship between Peggy and Adam was a bit yin and yang, because usually after the event, the man would sleep soundly without caring about anything, and the woman would pull the man to chat. However, considering Adam's usual endurance, Adam could only smile bitterly and accepted this result that he didn't know whether it was humiliation or glory. No, Peggy shook her head. Since I went to college, I have been following my mother. Every Christmas, he also invited me to go over, but I was too lazy to go. Do you hate him? Adam asked. No hatred, Peggy said coldly. Speaking of the failure of their marriage, I am also a big part of the reason. My mother has indeed invested too much energy and time in me. Adam touched Peggy's long hair with pity and sighed in his heart. At the beginning, Peggy took all the responsibilities on herself and almost fell. It was Adam who woke her up. But even so, Peggy still has a sense of self-blame, but it is buried deep in her heart. Except for Adam, who can accurately grasp her heart, no one knows. P.S. Thanks to the vegetable greenhouse for the reward. Chapter 455. Sheldon meets her boyfriend in the middle of the night. Peggy was having a rare heart-to-heart talk with Adam. At the other end of the United States, California, Pasadena, Caltech, doctoral apartment building, there was a knock on the door of an apartment. Due to the time difference, it was 2 o'clock in the morning in New York, and it was only 11 o'clock here. If it were an ordinary high school student, most of them would still be having a great time at a party, but the residents of this apartment must put on pajamas before 9 o'clock every night, lie in a neatly made quilt, with only their heads exposed, like Dracula, sleeping soundly. Okay. If there was really thunder in his ears, he would definitely not be able to sleep with his personality that was afraid of almost everything. That's right, this vampire count is Sheldon Cooper, who is currently studying for his second doctorate at Caltech. In his sleep, Sheldon's face was terrified, and he kept shaking his head from side to side. Gun, don't hit me. I'm just a train that's on time. Don't hit me, Spock. Save me, Sheldon murmured with his eyes closed. Dong dong dong, dong dong dong, dong dong dong. At this time, there was a knock on the door. No, Sheldon screamed and woke up suddenly. He quickly touched his whole body and found that he was intact. He breathed a sigh of relief. In his dream, he turned into a locomotive and was running happily. Suddenly, a bridge car drove by the side of the road and drove side by side with him. A monster with a crocodile head and a human body sat in the driver's seat of the car. One hand covered with lizard skin was on the window. The 2 red eyes of the crocodile head looked at him, as if smiling at him hideously. The other hand turned the steering wheel, and the car immediately approached the train, making a gesture to hit it. This monster was Gun, an alien race in Sheldon's favorite science fiction TV series Star Trek. It was also his nightmare. When the knock on the door sounded for the first time, the monster Gun stepped on the accelerator to the bottom and rushed towards him, who had turned into a locomotive. When the knock on the door sounded for the second time, the monster Gun's face was so close to him that he seemed to be able to smell the stench on the other party. When the knock on the door sounded for the third time, the monster Gun had already driven into him. In extreme fear, Sheldon woke up from his nightmare. Dong dong dong, the knock on the door outside continued. Sheldon showed an angry look, lifted the quilt and got up, walked out of the bedroom and walked towards the door. Then he thought of something. The anger disappeared, his face became a little frightened, and he turned back to the bedroom. When he came out again, he had a short stick in his hand. He pressed the button and a red light shot out from the stick head. It was the famous lightsaber in Star Wars. Sheldon held the lightsaber and walked to the door carefully. He looked outside through the cat's eye and saw a middle-aged woman who looked very gentle standing at the door. But he didn't dare to let his guard down, because there was a strong man in a black suit behind the woman. Who is it? Sheldon Cooper? It's me. Who are you? We are security guards from Caltech, responsible for escorting you to the University of Chicago for academic exchange. Time is urgent, so we can only leave now, but we have arranged a motorhome, and you can continue to sleep in the car. The middle-aged woman smiled. You said you are the school security. What proof do you have? Sheldon asked through the door. Well, he didn't doubt that he could get such treatment. This is our campus access card. The middle-aged woman took a card with a head portrait and put it in front of the cat's eye. Creak. Sheldon half opened the door. The anti-theft chain was still hanging, and he kept examining the visitors with an expression of "you might be bad guys." "Where's his?" "John." The middle-aged woman reminded the male security guard to show his ID card. The middle-aged man named John had no choice but to take out his ID card and put it in front of Sheldon. "Is it okay?" The middle-aged woman smiled. "Wait a minute." Sheldon was not so easy to deal with. He motioned the two people outside to wait, went to the bedroom and took out his wallet, took out a card from his wallet and showed it to them. "This is my membership card of the Justice League." "What do you mean?" The male security guard John was confused. "I have this but it doesn't prove that I know Batman." Sheldon looked at them with contempt. "Can't the ID card be forged?" He underestimated his wisdom. "You can contact the school security department. They can testify for us." The middle-aged woman smiled and said, "Just like you can call Commissioner Gordon and ask him to prove that you know Batman. Others will believe that you are really a member of the Justice League and really know Batman." "Have you also seen Justice League?" Sheldon's vigilance was slightly reduced. "My son likes it very much, so I also watched a lot of it." The middle-aged woman smiled. "Wait a minute." Sheldon walked back to the living room, picked up the phone and dialed the school security number, asking for a long time. During this time, he turned over the information on the two people's ID cards and asked them in various ways, and set up several traps. The vigilance was off the charts. "Do you believe it now?" The male security guard John stood outside for more than 10 minutes. Seeing Sheldon finally hung up the phone, he couldn't help but complain. "Of course. No." Sheldon shook his head. "Who knows if you guys colluded? Who would be so boring?" The male security guard John had a headache. "Oh." Sheldon smiled, showing the smile of Captain Shing. "It's hard to say. Terrorists, agents of the Northern Universe, aliens?" At this point, he stared at the two people with his eyes wide open, holding the lightsaber in his hand again, ready to attack at any time. There was no way. He just dreamed that Gunn attacked him, and now suddenly two strangers came in the middle of the night to take him away. This is too suspicious. It might be an alien conspiracy. You know, he is the king of wisdom on Earth who represents the hope of mankind. Once he is abducted, the Earth will be completely screwed. For the future of the entire Earth, he has to be cautious. What do you have to do to make you believe us? The middle-aged woman also smiled helplessly. I should be the one to say this. Sheldon held up his lightsaber, shrunk his neck, and widened his eyes. What do you have to do to make me believe it? Okay, let's be frank. We are not the school security department. The middle-aged woman spread her hands and said, Aha, I knew it. Sheldon shouted, You evil aliens, don't dream about kidnapping me. We are professional security personnel hired by your good friend Adam Duncan to help you go to the University of Chicago for exchange. The middle-aged woman explained, If you don't believe it, you can call him to verify it. Adam? Sheldon asked doubtfully. Yes, the middle-aged woman nodded. This was not her self-assertion without professional ethics. But Adam had reminded Lisa when he asked her to find someone. If Sheldon can believe their identity, forget it. If not, then tell the truth. There is no way. Adam knows Sheldon too well and had expected that this might happen. But he still fantasized that he didn't have to show up. It has to be said that Adam is still too naive. Chapter 456 Peggy's apartment. Adam was talking to Peggy. The phone rang. It's Sheldon. It must be about security. Adam picked up the phone, shook it at Peggy, and answered it. Hi, Sheldon. Who's talking? Sheldon clearly recognized Adam's voice, but asked seriously. Adam Duncan. Adam's mouth twitched. How do you prove that you are Adam Duncan? Sheldon showed a suspicious and disdainful smile. He was standing outside the atmosphere. Don't try to hide anything from him. Remember when we were in science class, Dr. Ronaldo Hodges from the Houston Johnson Space Center came to teach us at the invitation of our science teacher, and then perfunctorily treated you, and was finally slapped in the face by your strength? Adam casually mentioned something. I knew you were pretending to be aliens. Sheldon showed an expression of as expected on the other end of the phone. Adam doesn't care about this at all. Only you aliens care about our space program. Yes, I designed a technical solution for booster rocket recovery, which can greatly save the cost of rocket launch. Once realized, The Earth's space program will achieve a breakthrough. This will be a major threat to you aliens. So you came here to try to abduct and kidnap me, right? Adam's mouth twitched. If someone else thought so and dared to say so, he would have been sent to a mental hospital long ago. In fact, Sheldon was treated as a mental patient many times in his life. For example, he ran to the playground in the middle of the night and swam in the sea of plastic balls. The security guard of the playground found him and called Leonard. When Leonard came over, he apologized to the security guard. The security guard comforted Leonard. "It's nothing. A child in my relative's family is also so special." Leonard wanted to defend himself, but in the end he kept silent. Then he had to play hide-and-seek with Sheldon in the sea of plastic balls. He spent half the night trying to catch Sheldon, who kept swimming and poking his head in the sea of plastic balls. For another example, Sheldon's hair grew longer, but his full-time barber was hospitalized. He didn't trust the nephew of the full-time barber and was only willing to let his full-time barber cut his hair. So he took a pair of scissors to the hospital, clamped the scissors at the unconscious full-time barber, and wanted to call the other party's subconscious through the familiar sound of the scissors, so that the other party would wake up from the coma and cut his hair. This scene was seen by the nurse, who directly regarded him as a mental patient running down from the psychiatric department upstairs. While calling him baby to calm him down, she went out to call the security guard. Sheldon was also an old hand in this regard. He put away the scissors and slipped away, because if he didn't leave, he would really be sent to a mental hospital. This is Sheldon, Adam's good friend. Remember, Adam had no choice but to think about it carefully and picked some small things that they said when they were alone together. Both of them have high-definition image memory. No matter how small or long ago the matter is, as long as it is mentioned, both of them can immediately return to that time point. Poor Adam. Sheldon shook his head and snorted. He has been controlled by you, and the memory of his brain has been read by you, right? If you didn't use the black technology of memory reading to read his memory, he is not me. How could he remember those things clearly? Humphrey, don't try to deceive me. MMP. Adam wanted to complain, but think about it carefully. To a certain extent, this inference really makes sense. Normal people's IQ is an 8. During the time Adam and Sheldon were together, although his IQ continued to improve, it was still below genius. For Sheldon, he was just an ordinary person who couldn't be more ordinary. So can an ordinary person remember an insignificant little thing many years ago and completely retell the details of the scene, conversation, tone, expression, etc. at that time? Of course it's impossible. Sheldon suspected this, and there was nothing wrong with it. Adam, a traverser with a system, relied on the system to grow to have a high-definition image memory that even super geniuses may not have. How big is the difference between controlling Adam with aliens and reading Adam's memory with black technology such as memory readers? Which one is more credible? It's not the year 2020 when the Eastern countries' time travel online novels are rampant in the United States. Adam did write the time travel theme of The Lord of Mystery, but The Lord of Best Friends only has a golden finger, no system. The series of tricks of system time travel have not yet become popular. Sheldon's first thought was of course aliens. Adam opened his mouth and said helplessly, "I'll let Peggy talk to you." As he said that, he turned on the external sound of the phone. "Peggy?" Sheldon sneered. "It's 2:23 in the morning in New York now. How can you let Peggy talk to me? And you say you are not aliens. Can aliens do this?" Peggy took over and communicated with Sheldon in the mathematical language of high IQ geniuses. Adam was confused. He hasn't learned many mathematical theories yet. These are the results of the painstaking efforts of super geniuses of all ages. Even if Adam is a super genius now, he can't understand it all at once without long-term study and research. With so many theories and their fast conversation speed, it was like listening to a foreign language. The two of them talked for half an hour. "Okay, you are Peggy. Aliens can read your memory, but they can't control your thoughts. If they can, I can't do anything about it." After Sheldon let go, his tone changed and he asked in confusion, "Why are you with Adam at this time? You forgot. It was you who gave me advice." Peggy smiled. "My advice?" Sheldon thought for a while. Oh, you mean you?" Adam's mouth twitched and interrupted. Can you please not use this word? This word is Sheldon's high-frequency word. But it's a bit too harsh. Okay. Sheldon followed suit. You said you ate hash? Adam didn't want to talk anymore. God knows what kind of harsh word Sheldon can say. Yes. Peggy nodded calmly. Thank you for your advice. I have new inspiration for my stuck mathematical research, and this inspiration is endless. If this continues for a year, maybe I can completely solve the conjecture. Is it really so effective? Sheldon was surprised. For me, it works very well. Peggy smiled. No. Sheldon was jealous. I want to try it too. You want to try it too? Sheldon unexpectedly blossomed in advance. When Penny heard it, she was so shocked that she crushed the goblet directly. Thinking of this, Adam let go of his hand in fear. Then after hearing Sheldon's straightforward words, Adam, P.S. Thanks to book friends 20200510022929734 and defective mobile phone for the reward. Chapter 457 It's not easy at all. Peggy's apartment. After hearing Sheldon's words, Peggy laughed out loud. Adam said. Grave accent LL. Fortunately, Adam reacted quickly and complained. Are you still missing a suffix, Bazina? There was a pause of a few seconds on the other end of the phone, and Sheldon's cheerful laughter came. Adam breathed a sigh of relief. It's really a joke, but he can't afford this joke. Woo. Peggy wanted to continue teasing this topic, but the sharp-eyed Adam directly covered her mouth with his hand. Adam talked to Sheldon for a few more words, assured that the 2 security guards were sent by him, and let Sheldon go to Chicago with them without worry, and then decisively hung up the phone. What's wrong? Peggy was a little dissatisfied. She only had 2 friends in total, and now she finally had such a good opportunity. Everyone chatted on the same channel. What a happy thing. But it was ruined by Adam. It's just a few teasings. It's not a big deal. It's not what you think. Adam smiled bitterly and said, I don't really care. I just don't want you to waste your time. No matter how much you say, I can't hear you, and once you say too much, all I hear is beeps. That's too harsh. Although Peggy didn't quite understand the mystery of the 3 words unspeakable, she didn't continue to dwell on the topic when she saw how pitiful Adam was. Adam breathed a sigh of relief. It's still not stable enough. You will be punished by copying the Stability Sutra 3,000 times. Adam made a decision in secret and began to write the Stability Sutra directly in the starry sky in his mind, imitating the beginning of Star Wars, and adding background music. It was 4 o'clock in the morning. It was still dark. Adam kissed Peggy's forehead while she was sleeping soundly, and after telling Lisa and the others, he drove away from New Jersey in the storm. Last night was full of lightning and thunder, and the wind outside the house was howling, a doomsday scene. Adam had no doubt that there would be many more patients in the hospital today who were injured and treated because of this damn weather. New York Medical Center. Changing room. When Adam arrived, Meredith, George, Liz and the others also arrived and were changing clothes. Christina was still wearing the same white coat as yesterday. You haven't changed your clothes yet? Adam said with a smile. What to change? Christina shrugged and said, I didn't have the time or mood. I was sleeping soundly last night when I was called up urgently. Lightning hit a substation and everyone who stayed in the hospital was called up to transfer patients. Doesn't the hospital have a backup generator? Adam asked in surprise. Only one is working, and the other one is broken and has not been replaced. Christina complained. It can only guarantee the power supply of the operating room. All the patients in the emergency room were sent there. How can this be? George said dissatisfiedly while changing his clothes. You didn't change it even though you knew it was broken? What if something goes wrong? You go and talk to the director. Christina pouted and said, this year's budget originally had an item to replace the backup generator. But when I reported it to the director, it was directly rejected. In order to save money, we bought an extra MRI machine. George stopped talking immediately. By the way, don't compete with me for the patient with herniated disc. If anyone does, I will quarrel with him. Christina glanced at everyone and said domineeringly, are you talking about Mr. Hunter Lameth who watched the slut nurse suppress the pain? Hasn't he had the operation yet? Adam's eyes lit up. He was also very interested in this operation. It was originally scheduled for yesterday. Christina stared at Adam, but with the situation yesterday, Do you think Dr. Shept had time to deal with him? It was delayed until today. I started taking care of this patient last night, so this operation is what I deserve. Don't compete with me. Dr. Shept has the final say on who will do the operation during the ward rounds. Adam looked at Meredith and smiled. Isn't it me that you should be most worried about? Meredith had a blank expression. It's you, Christina said. Meredith is not interested in this, so it's just the two of us. Hey, George couldn't help shouting. You treat me and George as dead. Liz also said dissatisfiedly. Christina gave them a look, letting them understand it themselves, and then looked at Adam again. You don't know what I paid last night. If you still regard me as a friend, don't fight with me for this operation. Okay. Seeing that Christina had said this, Adam didn't bother about this operation. Of course, if it was a surgery that Adam had never done, it would be another matter. For such an operation, stabbing a friend with a scalpel is also to save more patients. Even if friends can't understand it for the time being, they will understand it over time. Since ancient times, loyalty and righteousness are difficult to achieve. Thank you. Christina's face lit up. Don't leave in a hurry. Did you forget something? Adam stopped her and said playfully, what did you pay last night? As soon as this was said, George and the others looked over. Nothing, Christina didn't want to say. Then you lied to me? Adam said seriously. As for the operation, let's rely on our own abilities. Just say it. What can't you say? Liz smiled. Yes, George said. Okay. Christina saw that everyone was determined to gossip to the end, so she had to confess. It turned out that after the power outage, the patient Mr. Lamont could not watch the pain-relieving movie, and he immediately felt unbearable pain. His wife was not at home, and the nurses were busy transferring patients, so they had no time to pay attention to him. Christina, who was passing by, saw it and came in to check. She found that Mr. Lamont's blood pressure was high and his pulse was fast, and it was not fake. This changed her view that Mr. Lamont is a pervert. It turned out that art movies can really calm Mr. Lamont down and reduce pain, so she started to think of ways to relieve his pain. The medicine didn't work because of allergies. In the end, Christina could only turn into a voice actor and tell Mr. Lamont the story of Liub's three sworn brothers in Teo and vividly, so that Mr. Lamont could hold on until the power came back. Puff. After she briefly recounted the matter, Adam and others burst into laughter. What did you do? Ha ha ha. Ouch. My stomach. Don't laugh. Christina glanced at the other doctors who were changing clothes in the distance, and shouted angrily, I am just doing my duty as a doctor to help patients. You are wrong. You are clearly doing the work of a nurse. Adam teased with a pun. Ha ha ha. Nurse Christina. Liz and George laughed again. You are the nurses. Christina slapped Liz and George angrily, glared at Adam, and pushed the door and left. P.S. Thank you for Kanifi Along's reward. Writing a book is really not easy. The title of the previous chapter is gone, and the content will be deleted from time to time, but there is no notice yet. So if you find that the context is not connected, you can add the author so that the author can fix it in time. Thank you. Chapter 458. Adam's follower. Medical center. What's wrong with her? Adam followed Christina out of the dressing room and asked curiously. You mean Meredith? Christina shook her head and said, Dr. Shept dumped her, and this time it was very thorough. Really? Adam didn't believe it. He didn't sign the divorce agreement, and told Meredith that Dr. Montgomery was his wife. How could he divorce her? Christina complained. Shameless bastard. Why didn't he say this when he first met Meredith? Why didn't he say this at the first time when they showed their cards before? He had to make Meredith put down her dignity and actively beg him to choose her. And then he said this lightly, as if Meredith was the bad guy who destroyed his family, and he was the most righteous person. How dare you? Adam's mouth curled up. What? Christina looked over in confusion. I mean, if Dr. Shept had added a sentence of how dare you at the end, it would have been very exciting, Adam said playfully. You're right. Christina sipped it and nodded. Adding this sentence at the end is indeed more absurd and ridiculous. Emergency room. The media brainwashes children and instills I love you, you love me, we are a happy family and other filthy and ridiculous ideas. As soon as Adam came over, he heard a very familiar accent. Looking over there, he saw an African-American man who looked very much like Earl, the African-American cashier, and two broke girls, sitting there in a hospital gown, spitting and cursing in the same African-American rap accent as Earl. Joey, who has learned that actors must spit to speak clearly, would be called an expert if he were here. "What's going on?" Adam asked curiously. "Yes, Mr. Lark has uremia and needs dialysis, but because of his mouth, he offended half of the medical staff in New York hospital and was not admitted. He had to go to one hospital after another. Dr. Lewis was kind and admitted him." The nurse was about to speak, but was interrupted by a young man in a white coat. He told the whole story in one breath, holding a coffee tray and looking at Adam flatteringly. "Dr. Duncan, would you like a latte?" "Flatterer." The nurse stared at the young man indignantly. "Who are you?" Adam smiled and looked at the young man. "My name is John Carter, a senior student at the New York University School of Medicine, and I am here to be a medical intern in the emergency department." The young man showed the most decent smile. "Thanks, Carter." Adam took the latte and thanked him, then handed the latte to the nurse. "Thank you, Dr. Duncan." The nurse smiled. John Carter's face froze. "Carter, since you're a medical intern, then as a resident intern, I will teach you the first lesson. Don't offend the nurses." Adam smiled and patted Carter on the shoulder. In the hospital, although interns are the lowest level of doctors, they can at least be called Dr. So-and-so, and are serious doctors. Medical interns who come to the hospital for internship in their 3rd and 4th years can only be called Mr. So-and-so or Ms. So-and-so. They really have no confidence in front of patients. Of course, those who are particularly awesome are excluded. Attending doctors lead residents, residents lead interns, and interns lead medical interns. There are clear levels, one level at a time. John Carter set his sights on Adam as soon as he came. He was smart and clever. "Thank you for your teaching, Dr. Duncan." Carter quickly adjusted himself and thanked him happily. "Please teach me more in the future, Dr. Duncan." "Haha." Adam smiled non-committally and walked towards Susan Lewis. "You look average, but you have beautiful dreams." The nurse sneered. "If you want to follow Dr. Duncan, go get in line." "Get in line?" Carter paused when he heard this and said nervously, "Are there other medical interns who want to follow Dr. Duncan?" "I don't count you as medical interns at all." The nurse proudly puffed out her chest. "Many interns want to get close to Dr. Duncan and learn more from him. Haven't you seen Dr. Duncan's open class? Dr. Duncan is a super genius doctor who can talk to legendary doctors. Rumor has it that Dr. Duncan is an attending physician in the guise of an intern. You are just a medical intern, and you want to skip 2 levels and follow an attending physician right after entering the hospital. You are just wishful thinking." After saying that, she picked up the latte Adam had given her and drank it happily, looking very happy, as if it was the only delicacy in the world. John Carter stood there with a sense of loss. "If I were you, I wouldn't think so much." The young nurse glanced at him and said, "Master some common sense first and make sure you don't make common sense mistakes. How can Dr. Duncan have time to teach you such basic things? You can ask those experienced old nurses for advice on this." When you can refute the opinions of the old nurses, then you can imagine being recognized and appreciated by Dr. Duncan and learn more knowledge and skills from him. The relationship between interns and nurses is very delicate. At the beginning, the nurses like to call these rookies Bambi and often make fun of the rookies' clumsiness. Of course, if these rookies can let go of the arrogance of "I went to medical school and I am a doctor," the nurses are willing to give them more advice to help them grow faster. This period of time is when doctors are the most humble and nurses are the happiest. It is also the time when the relationship between nurses and doctors is the smallest. It is usually 2 or 3 months. When the rookie doctors get through this period of time, the nurses' years of accumulated experience have been passed on. Then the turning point comes. When facing a patient, the nurses habitually give Bambi some advice. But at this time the rookies are already half veterans and realize that the nurse's judgment is wrong. After all, they have been to medical school and have more theoretical knowledge, which is not comparable to the nurses who have accumulated experience bit by bit through practice. It is the doctor's obligation and right to diagnose and treat patients. So, the interns began to refute the nurses who used to guide and help them. and asked the nurses to treat according to their diagnosis. The nurses were shocked at this time that the good times were over again, and they could only agree expressionlessly, "Yes, doctor." After that, most people chose to let doctors be doctors and nurses be nurses, no longer joking and chatting, and even not sitting together for lunch. Of course, those who like each other and fall in love are another matter, because they don't care about the reversal of who is on top and who is on the bottom. It's alright, not shabby, if interns are like this. Medical interns who can't be called doctors yet should be more humble and studious, otherwise, the old nurses will teach them a lesson in minutes. "Thank you." John Carter thanked him sincerely, and secretly made up his mind to master all the common sense as soon as possible, and then strive for the opportunity to study with Adam. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 459. The young man has a future. Medical Center. Emergency room. Dr. Lewis. "Adam, you're here." Susan smiled and greeted Adam. "Is there anything I can help you with?" Adam said as he casually picked up Mr. Lark's medical record. The name was written as Gardner Lark. "Well, it seems that it is indeed not Earl. What are you looking at?" Mr. Lark glanced at Adam. Adam was slightly startled, surprised at the other party's sensitivity, and smiled. "Do you know Earl? Do you know Dick?" Mr. Lark asked instead of answering, with a provocative expression. "Dr. Lewis, I'll go over there to take a look." Adam ignored him, nodded to Susan, and left. "Why don't you talk?" Mr. Lark was still shouting. "We Africans are all the same in your eyes, and you white people are the same in our eyes." "What a thing." "Okay." Susan frowned and said, "Mr. Lark, be quiet. Go pee on the side." Mr. Lark confronted whoever he caught. "It's really ironic for a person without kidneys to say such things." The nurse on the side mocked. "You have an affair with a pretty boy, doctor? You're protecting him now?" Mr. Lark started to swear at the nurse again. "Dr. Lewis, there's a patient over there who needs you." The nurse winked at Susan, signaling her not to see Mr. Lark. "Mr. Lark, can you calm down?" Susan frowned. "Why, I don't even have the right to speak," Mr. Lark said in a strange tone. "You do," Susan said seriously, "but this is a hospital. You will disrupt our diagnosis and treatment of patients. You are in the late stage of renal failure and are on the blacklist of many hospitals. We will save you, provided that you calm down. Otherwise we can only ask the security to ask you to leave." "You are all idiots." Mr. Lark muttered a few words, and finally shut up. He is a real Zon, but he is not as desperate as Zon. Before coming here, he had been directly rejected by more than a dozen hospitals. If it weren't for Susan's kindness, he would not be able to see a doctor at all because he was on the medical blacklist for insulting medical staff. He was in the late stage of renal failure. If he didn't get treatment, he would die outside at any time. "Prepare dialysis for him. I'll go get the portable equipment," Susan told the nurse and left. Nurse's station. "Adam, are you okay?" Susan asked with concern. "Of course I'm fine." Adam smiled and said, "This is not the first time I've seen such a person." "But Dr. Lewis, there must be something hateful about pitiful people." "Don't invest too much in such a person, otherwise you will be the first one who can't stand it." He really didn't care. If a dog barks at you, should you bark back? He couldn't let this tarnish his perfect medical resume. Of course, if the other party went a little too far, he would let the other party know what it meant to don't mess with rich people. Alas, Susan sighed. "We are doctors." She knew why Adam said that. Not long ago, she saw a homeless man who was really pitiful, so after treating him, she gave him $10 to buy food. The grateful look of the homeless man at that time really comforted her, but what happened next made her sad. The next day, the homeless man came to the emergency room again and asked her to give him $100 for emergency treatment. After being rejected, the homeless man said that $50 would be fine. Later, it was reduced to only $20. Help in emergencies, not poverty. Susan naturally could not give it. The homeless man immediately cursed and almost went forward to fight. In the end, He was forcibly carried out by the security guard. The scene was very embarrassing for Susan, who was kind-hearted and did good things. It was a big blow. For a long time, she was depressed. However, she was kind by nature and still wanted to save as many people as possible, even if this person was his own madman. "Dr. Duncan," the nurse shouted over there. "What's the situation?" Adam smiled at Susan and quickly greeted the emergency personnel who came in. 42 years old, female. The vehicle lost control and hit the bridge pier, conscious, with a sense of direction, and normal vital signs, the emergency personnel said quickly. Adam nodded, took over, and began to examine the patient. Then the corners of his mouth twitched. "What kind of look is that?" "A woman is one who wears women's clothes and puts on makeup." Adam suppressed his complaints and carefully checked. He found that the cross-dressing man had no internal injuries, only local abrasions on the surface. He looked at the nurse's station and his eyes lit up. "Ms. Carlton, wait a moment," Adam said and walked towards the nurse's station. "Carter, what are you doing?" Dr. Duncan. John Carter, who was sitting there, stood up immediately, raised the pig's trotter in his hand with some excitement, and said repeatedly, "I am practicing suturing with pig's trotters." The elasticity of pig's trotters is similar to that of human skin, which is very suitable for practice. "I have 6 in my refrigerator." "Very good." Adam smiled and said, "Pig's trotters are good practice props. But do you want to practice suturing for real?" "Of course." John Carter nodded repeatedly. "Miss Carlton, over there needs suturing. Go ahead." Adam pointed in the direction of the cross-dressing man. "Is it okay?" "No problem," John Carter responded loudly. "If there is any problem that cannot be solved, you can ask the nurse to call me." Adam patted his shoulder. John Carter immediately went over in high spirits. "Dr. Duncan, do you think he is good?" the little nurse asked in surprise. "Why not?" Adam smiled. "He is ambitious and has good eyesight. He likes to practice suturing with pig's trotters." There are still 6 of them in the refrigerator at home. Adam couldn't help but suspect that John Carter actually likes to eat pig's trotters. Otherwise, wouldn't so many pig's trotters be wasted? He wants to be his follower, and Adam doesn't mind giving him a chance. Maybe Adam can also eat the unique braised pig's trotters? This seems to be a unique landscape on the road to becoming a great doctor. "Who are you?" The cross-dressing man frowned and said, "Where is Dr. Duncan?" "Hello, I'm John Carter." Carter smiled brightly and said, "Dr. Duncan has other patients who need treatment, and asked me to suture you." "Ms. Carlton, can we start?" The cross-dressing man was very disappointed, lying on his side. Without saying a word, Carter took her as his acquiescence and carefully examined the wound, preparing to suture the patient. Then he noticed something was wrong. The makeup technique was indeed amazing, but it could only be admired from a distance and not touched. Facing the close observation of the doctor, how could it not be exposed? Carter's face suddenly became strange, because some of the wounds that needed to be sutured were not in the best position. But this was the first task Adam assigned to him. No matter how difficult it was, he could only grit his teeth and do it. Nurse's station. Puff. The nurses noticed Carter's suturing posture and immediately guessed that the patient was injured in the lower body. Seeing Carter's particularly awkward expression, they couldn't help laughing. Adam couldn't help but laugh and said, "The young man has a future." Chapter 460. Our Lady also has the appearance of a girl medical center. Emergency room. Woo woo woo. The whistle of the ambulance came again. Adam immediately went to meet it. There was a car accident on the highway. There were 2 male minors in the car. They were all wearing seat belts and were thrown out of the car. This one had a sudden heart attack and was unconscious. His vital signs were weak, the emergency personnel said quickly. Adam immediately performed CPR and a series of rescue efforts. Unfortunately, the injury was too severe, and even a large pool of gray matter in the brain was leaking out. Atropine was injected and CPR was performed for nearly 10 minutes. Time of death, 7:33. Adam stopped CPR, glanced at the time, and announced, it was also a car accident patient. Last time, Adam tried his best to rescue for more than an hour and created a miracle. This time, after more than 10 minutes of rescue, he gave up directly. In addition to the different injuries, there was also Adam's subconsciousness. The last time, The innocent victim was rescued. This time, according to the policeman who came with him, the teenager was a speeding gang, ran a red light on the highway, and hit and killed a 22-year-old girl. They were sent here for rescue first. The innocent girl's neck was broken and she was left at the scene. She didn't even have the chance to be rushed to the hospital for emergency treatment. Adam was only a doctor, not a judge, but he would only follow the procedures for such a speeding murderer and would not make any extra efforts. Need help? Susan's voice came from the emergency room next door. Adam immediately pushed the door and walked over. The second person in the car that caused the accident was also sent over at this time, struggling in pain. Ah, it hurts so much. Susan wanted to examine him, but the two of them couldn't hold him down at all. Adam, come and help me hold him down. Susan was overjoyed to see Adam coming over. Adam was famous for his strength. Okay. Adam nodded, stepped forward and stretched out his hand to hold the other person. The man was immediately as if he was under a spell. Well done. Susan praised and examined the young man. Prepare to irrigate the wound, Susan said. This is an examination step to determine whether there is internal bleeding and whether surgery is needed. First, a small incision is made on the patient's stomach, and then saline is poured in through a catheter. When the incision is full, if blood flows out, it means internal bleeding, and the patient must be sent to the operating room for surgery immediately. No need, he has internal bleeding. Send him to the operating room immediately. Adam said affirmatively after checking. Are you sure? Susan was stunned. Sure. Adam nodded. Okay. Susan and Adam looked at each other and chose to believe Adam, although she was an emergency resident, and Adam was only an intern under her. But everyone has a scale in their hearts to judge who is more powerful. Notify the operating room. We will go there immediately. Susan ordered immediately. For internal bleeding, the earlier the operation is performed, the result may be completely different. OMG, Larry is dead. When the young man on the gurney was pushed to the operating room by Adam and others, he saw his friend lying alone next door through the crack of the door, and immediately shouted in fear, "Will I die too? We will try our best to save you." Susan comforted. The nurse immediately contacted the operating room. What? They're all in use. Can't we leave one room free? No. This is Dr. Duncan's surgery. Can we cut in line at operating room 5? Okay, we'll go to operating room 5 right away. After hanging up the phone, the nurse immediately ran to catch up with Adam and his group. Dr. Duncan, operating room 5. After saying that, she ran to the front and opened the door for Adam and his group. Operating room 5. They all don't have time. While preparing for anesthesia, Susan contacted the senior attending physician and got permission for the surgery. We have to do it. Don't be nervous, we can do it. Adam smiled while cleaning and disinfecting. You can be the lead surgeon. Susan smiled bitterly. She is an emergency resident. Although she can also perform surgical operations, she usually handles some emergency rescues, stabilizes the patient's condition a little, and then directly sends the patient to the surgical operating room for the surgeon to perform the operation. The frequency of her surgical operations is naturally not comparable to that of a surgical resident like Bailey, who specializes in surgical operations. Only when everyone is busy now will she be the lead surgeon. If the frequency is not enough, her confidence will inevitably be insufficient. Are you sure? Adam asked. Doctors, especially residents who are still in training, all don't like to do surgery, because only with enough surgeries can one hone his skills. This is the foundation of a doctor's career, the one who makes a living. I'm sure. Susan smiled and said, You are a surgeon, aren't you? Okay. Adam glanced at her, thought of her character, and nodded in agreement. She is a saintly person, real saintly, not derogatory, and she values the patient's life far more than her own technical improvement. In her opinion, there is obviously an Adam who is much better than her in this operating room. For the sake of the patient, it is naturally better for the patient to let Adam be the surgeon. If it were Christina, she would only go first, and if it doesn't work, she would consider replacing Adam. That's right, at this time, she would consider it. This is a typical surgeon with a God complex and extremely confident. And Susan, no wonder she gave up surgery and chose emergency. After everything is ready, Adam walked to the position of the main surgeon, nodded to Susan, who was standing opposite him as an assistant, and stretched out his hand and said, "Scalpel." The surgical nurse immediately handed the scalpel to Adam. Adam skillfully and calmly cut open the patient's chest. "Everyone says you are good at theory, but I think you are better at surgery." The operation went smoothly. Susan was in a good mood. She admired Adam's smooth operation and couldn't help but admire it. At this stage, theory is still good. Adam smiled reservedly. The operation was successful. After the end, Susan hurried away. She still had the Zon patient with uremia waiting. Nurse's station. When Adam came over, he heard the Zon madman shouting from a distance. "Who told you to do this? I have already booked a doctor for you." Susan stood there and said helplessly, "Dr. Lewis said all the good things to convince the clinic to accept him again, but he didn't know what was good for him." He also scolded Dr. Duncan. "This kind of person is so hateful." The nurses condemned one after another. "I'm not going." The Zon madman directly crumpled the appointment form into a ball and threw it at Susan's face. "Mr. Lark." Even Susan was a little angry at this moment. She took a deep breath and said in a deep voice, "If you don't go, you will be back here, but we don't want this." "Shut up," the Zon madman shouted. "What did you say?" Susan couldn't believe it. "Are you deaf?" The Zon madman pointed at Susan and cursed. "I said shut up, you disgusting idiot." Adam couldn't stand it anymore and signaled the nurse to notify the security. When Susan walked to the nurse's station, her face changed again and again. Her kindness was once again slammed to the ground, and this time it was directly trampled into mud. "Don't be angry for this kind of person," Adam comforted. Susan shook her head. Her eyes swept across a pot of sunflowers at the nurse's station, and her eyes flashed. The security guard came over soon. Susan saw it, stretched out her hand to signal them not to go over, and then walked to the Zon madman and smiled sweetly again. After a while, "Oh my God, I'm not a baby," Zon madman said helplessly. "Can't you just put it in my mouth?" "Sorry, this is the hospital rule. I will be back in 10 minutes. Susan's mouth curled up, and while speaking, she closed all the curtains around the bed. "Wait, I don't have any privacy at all?" Zon madman was also anxious. He was lying on the bed at this time to take the temperature, and took off his pants. Everyone couldn't help laughing. "What's so funny? Haven't you seen taking the temperature?" Zon madman frowned. Everyone was holding back their laughter, and it was so hard for each of them. "But I saw a sunflower inserted there diagonally, as if showing a smile to everyone. P.S. Thank you Master Lee Z for the reward." Chapter 461. The spiritual book explores the medical center. Emergency room. A sunflower fluttered in the wind on the black soil. Haha. Adam looked at the Zon madman lying there ignorantly, and couldn't help but give a thumbs up to Susan, who came over with a smile. The Bodhisattva also has anger. The Virgin Mary also has the appearance of a girl. Susan, who is occasionally naughty when she can't bear it anymore, is more like a human being. There are 2 ways to measure body temperature. If you offend the doctor will let you measure it in the most accurate way. Who made you so ruthless, so shameless, and so unreasonable, and so indifferent? Think about it this way. In the Big Bang Theory, Howard didn't know that he could take body temperature with his mouth until he went to college. In the past, his mother never gave him a second choice at home. She didn't even tell him that there was a second choice. When he was in college, when the nurse took his temperature for the first time, he didn't open his mouth, but took off his pants and lay down directly. That picture, the clumsy image of Howard's mother, Mrs. Wanowitz, suddenly became flexible and vivid. The naughty child who only knows how to play games. Accept the righteous iron fist of your mother. Dr. Duncan, the mothers of the 2 young men who were racing at high speed are here. Nurse Carol came over and said to Adam, "Did you tell them about Larry's death?" Adam asked. "Yes." Nurse Carol looked a little dazed. "What happened?" Adam asked with concern. "It was Andy," Nurse Carol said in confusion. Before he entered the operating room, he saw his good friend Larry die and was very scared, so he told the truth. Although the car was Larry's, he was driving before the accident. "Yes," Adam nodded and said. "Didn't we all hear it?" Then he reacted and his eyes fixed. "Is he telling others now that Larry was driving?" "Yes," Nurse Carol murmured. "Andy and his mother said that Larry ran a red light. He told Larry to stop, but Larry said he could get through. Are you not going to tell the police about this news? Adam glanced at her. I'm not sure if I should take care of it. Nurse Carol shook her head and said, the patient came here feeling very scared, thinking that he was going to die, and would tell us things that even his husband, wife, or even priest wouldn't tell us. This child confided his soul to us, and I just don't think it's right to tell others. You're not a priest. Adam looked at her deeply. He directly killed an innocent passerby and indirectly killed his friend. Their souls are also watching you. We still have a doctor-patient confidentiality agreement. Nurse Carol was very entangled. Okay, don't worry about this. Adam looked at her and turned away. Dr. Duncan, what are you going to do? Nurse Carol hurriedly followed. Are you going to tell the police? Just like you, do nothing. Adam pointed to a crying middle-aged woman walking towards him and said lightly, that should be Larry's mother. Go and comfort her. The doctor-patient confidentiality agreement does not include murder, which can be told to the police. But Adam is not going to do that. The doctor-patient confidentiality agreement exists to allow patients to receive medical treatment with more peace of mind and to prevent conflicts between doctors and patients. It's hard to say. That's it. After the incident, everyone might agree that the doctor followed the procedure, but deep down, don't they feel a little unhappy and resistant? What if they encounter such a situation that needs to be kept secret one day, but do nothing and watch innocent passers-by die tragically, while the real murderer goes unpunished? Adam doesn't want to do that either. This kind of thing shouldn't be handled by doctors. Let the people who should be in charge handle it. Originally, after a car had such a big accident, it should be clear who was driving, but the efficiency of the American police is really worrying. The African-American policeman who rushed to the scene of the accident and came to the hospital at the first time didn't even know who was driving the car before. Is the other party really stupid, or is he just slacking off, or is he pretending to be stupid? Adam doesn't know, but he has a way to make the other party pay attention and investigate, and then easily figure out who is the real culprit. Kate, it's me. Walking outside the hospital building, Adam called a police friend. Although she is a homicide detective and is not responsible for traffic accidents, but as a beautiful detective, she has a wide network of contacts in the New York police system and is popular. Through her, remind the responsible police to pay attention. Such obvious traces are not so easy to cover up. And the sports car belongs to the deceased Larry. From this point of view, Larry's family is not an ordinary family. Once it is exposed, who can use the capital fist? Okay, I will give you a signed version before the new book is released. Adam smiled and agreed to Kate's request. The reason why he knew Kate was because Kate was also a fan of the Lord of Mysteries. When she held a book signing event in New York before, she also came to the backstage through the police colleague who was responsible for maintaining public order and asked Adam for an autograph in person. The other party was a righteous policeman and looked so righteous. Adam also felt that it was necessary to make some police friends at that time, so as not to be stopped at any time, and then directly taught a lesson, so he exchanged phone numbers with her. Well, that's all. Anyway, he has no other memory. After hanging up the phone, Adam returned to the emergency room. Dr. Duncan, John Carter came over immediately. I sutured it. What thread did you use? Adam asked. 40 absorbable subcutaneous sutures. Carter quickly replied, looking at Adam expectantly. Okay, let's go and see the suture effect. Adam smiled dumbly. He understood the mentality of students who expect to be praised by teachers during class. Ward, where is the person? Carter was surprised. Middle-aged hermaphrodite. He should go to the women's bathroom, the nurse said casually. He just got sutured. He should rest more. Carter complained. Is that all? Adam looked at him and reminded him, he is your patient. You should know his condition and keep an eye on him at all times. Yes, Dr. Duncan. Carter was startled and nodded quickly. I'll go find him right away. At this time, there was a sound of running in the corridor. What's going on? Someone is on the roof of the hospital, ready to jump off the building. Adam heard it and immediately ran to the roof. This is definitely saving lives, and he has no choice but to do it. OMG. Carter reacted a little slowly, then thought of his communication with the patient, immediately guessed something, exclaimed, and ran to the roof with all his strength. Don't be my patient. Don't be my patient. Don't be my patient. When he staggered over, he looked over there and broke out in a cold sweat. The more you fear something, the more it will come. Standing on the edge of the roof, posing like Rose's free-flying posture, who else could it be but Miss Carleton? If he had known this, he would definitely recognize the other lady's identity and give her enough response, instead of ignoring her the whole time because of some prejudice. If the other party jumped down now, he would probably be uneasy for the rest of his life. Please, it's Saturday, and as per the rules, I have to go out and have some fun again. There is only one chapter at noon, and the other 2 chapters will be in the evening. Please forgive me. Chapter 462. I want you to always remember my medical center. Rooftop. Miss Carleton, don't get excited. Adam stepped on the stone steps at the edge of the building, and slowly approached. Don't come closer, or I will jump. The middle-aged hermaphrodite Carleton turned around and threatened Adam with his hand, not allowing Adam to get closer. I know you are sad, but please don't joke with your life. Adam was standing close enough, and he did some mental calculations in an instant, and he had a bottom line in his mind. But he didn't act immediately. If this trouble can be solved with psychological counseling, he didn't want to stage a thrilling moment. After all, he can save the other party once, but not a second time. It is better to dispel the other party's desire to commit suicide. I can't pretend to be a woman anymore. Carleton looked back and gave a miserable smile. But I have nothing else to ask for except being a woman. Who said you can't be a woman? Adam advised. This world is not as hopeless as you think. There is hope as long as people are alive. There is no hope. Everyone looks down on me. Carleton laughed miserably. Even you doctors and nurses are the same. I'm tired of this kind of look. No. Adam cursed John Carter in his heart for being too young and showing all his emotions on his face, which aggravated the other party's emotions. But he smiled calmly on his face. I have a best friend. His father is the same as yours. He didn't understand his father before. But many years later, when he got married, he still flew to Las Vegas to invite his father to his wedding, in the way his father wanted. With his mother, he walked down the red carpet with his arms on his left and right. I don't want to take credit, but the reason why he reconciled with his father, I more or less contributed a little. So I didn't discriminate against you. The views of a few people cannot represent everyone. Carleton couldn't help but look over. Perhaps you have heard of her name, Helena, the drag queen of Las Vegas. Adam had to borrow the reputation of Chandler's father. I know her. Carleton smiled. She is very lucky, because she is beautiful enough. When she walks outside, almost no one can tell her identity. They all think she is a real beauty. But how many people can be as beautiful as her? Look at me. How can I compare with her? At this point, he stretched out his hand to gesture all over his body and smiled miserably. Adam was stagnant and speechless. The world view follows the 5 senses. As long as the appearance is good, anything twisted can happen. Chandler's father is indeed beautiful enough in the eyes of the world. This is the root of his ability to live a very chic life. Otherwise, countless contemptuous and disgusting eyes, even if they don't force him to death, will make him depressed and unable to be chic. I used to have a best friend. Carleton wiped the tears from the corners of his eyes and smiled. We had lunch together, went shopping, and had fun. One night we drank together, and I told her everything. She got up and left. She never talked to me again. I used to think that would make me stronger, more convinced of who I am. But now, every time I have to spend 3 hours putting on makeup before I dare to go out. I also have to pluck and remove hair. Even so, some people can still see it. I can see disgust in their eyes. They are right. I am so disgusting. I'm sorry, Miss Carleton. John Carter apologized in the distance with self-blame and shame. During the suturing process, he also heard the other party tell this story. At that time, he tried not to look at the other party, for fear that he would reveal the disgust in the other party's mouth, because he did despise it. It doesn't matter. Carleton smiled and said, you are not the first, but I hope you are the last. John Carter was about to collapse. From the looks of it, he really became the culprit for the other party's jump off the building. Ms. Carleton, if you don't think about yourself, you should also think about others. Adam changed the subject. There are people coming and going downstairs. If you jump, It may not only be you who will die, but also innocent passers-by who may be killed by you. Is this what you want? This is God's problem. Carlton glanced downstairs. Since God has brought me to this point, then God must be responsible for everything. As he said, he opened his hands and fell backwards. The posture was exactly the same as Bridget Lin's movie version of Dong Fang Bu by jumping off the cliff. The smile was somewhat similar. Damn it. Adam observed in advance that he was about to jump, and instantly entered bullet time, rushing up at full speed. In the process of rushing over, Adam's super genius brain still had time to complain crazily. I must ask clearly later, are you cosplaying Dong Fang Bu Bai? It is now 1998. At this point in time, the movie version of Bridget Lin's series of Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon has already been released. Combined with Carlton's wish of only wanting to be a woman for the rest of his life, Adam has every reason to suspect that Carlton has seen Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon and then put himself in the shoes of the woman. Thinking of this, when Adam reached out in time to grab one of Carlton's legs in midair, his mouth twitched when he saw Carlton's smile become even brighter. I want you to remember me forever. Carlton muttered this classic line, and his other foot in the air kicked directly at Adam. This is a magical internal palm power that even Newton's coffin lid could not suppress, and it was impossible to give Adam a palm in midair. That's enough. Adam couldn't bear it any longer, and didn't even let him finish his lines. He directly pulled him back in midair. You think you are Dong Fang Bu Bai, but don't fucking think of me as Ling Uchong. When Carlton was thrown on the floor by Adam, he hadn't finished the lines in his mouth yet, and his expression was a little stunned. But then a sharp pain came from his calf. It was Adam who grabbed his leg and deliberately increased his strength when pulling him back, breaking his leg directly. On the one hand, it was because Adam was a little disgusted by what he did. On the other hand, after breaking his leg, he would have more time to think about life. Adam laughed in his heart, but then his face changed, because he found that Carlton only had one high heel on his foot. The other one, downstairs, at the door of the hospital, Barney was pushed out in a wheelchair. Great, look at me. I can finally walk and return to the court. This is so exciting. This is so great. This is really a blessing from heaven. Exclamation mark when he stood up from the wheelchair, stood on his feet on the ground, tightened his tie, and gave his discharge speech to his African-American brother James, who came to pick him up. He hugged him, shook his body, and roared wildly to vent his excitement. Relax, Barney. James laughed. Exclamation mark. Barney's excited roar just stopped, and he shouted again, but this time the shout was not so excited. Barney screamed and fainted. James was stunned. It was indeed a gift from heaven, but it was not a blessing from heaven. It was a high-heeled shoe that fell from the sky and hit Barney and knocked him unconscious. P.S. I'm so tired. My waist is about to break. I want to go to bed early at night. There is only this chapter today. Sorry. Chapter 463, Braised Pigs Trotters are the best. Medical Center. Rooftop. After the thrilling moment, the medical staff who had been stopped by the security guards from watching the excitement from a distance rushed forward and lifted Carlton, who had a broken leg, onto the stretcher. That's right, the security guards arrived earlier than them, but he ignored Carlton, who had his hands spread out like rows. He just stood there from a distance, maintaining law and order and not letting others get close. This is his job. Don't even think about risking life to save people. Have you seen Dong Fang Bu Bai? Adam couldn't help asking before Carlton was pushed away. You've seen it too? Carlton was pleasantly surprised and even forgot the pain for a moment. Adam twitched his lips but didn't answer. Sure enough, this time was the most brilliant era for Hong Kong movies. Hong Kong movie tycoons were also keen to export Hong Kong movies overseas, especially interested in making US dollars. Although martial arts movies are far inferior to the kung fu that made a sensation in the West, it's not that no one watches them. Isn't it enough to treat the high-flying light skills as magic? Carlton is not accepted by the mainstream. Watching a local martial arts film that is a niche among the niche, the theme is still about the romantic love of people like them. It is so reasonable. In addition to identity recognition, the beauty, strength, romance, sadness of being betrayed, and the determination to make the betrayed lover regret for a lifetime of Dongfang Bubai can definitely resonate strongly with Carlton and others. Adam even guessed that among Carlton and others, anyone who has seen Dongfang Bubai probably wants to practice the Sunflower Manual. Dr. Duncan, I'm sorry. After everyone dispersed, John Carter came over with shame. Do you know what's wrong? Adam looked at him. I shouldn't be so unprofessional, and irritated her. Carter bowed his head. It's good to know. Adam nodded. As doctors, we are only responsible for curing diseases and saving lives. The rest has nothing to do with us. Yes, Dr. Duncan. Carter agreed, still in a low mood. No one can laugh if they encounter such a thing. Actually, you can't be blamed for this, Adam said, and then comforted her. He was hospitalized for a car accident before. Now I think he must have crashed into the car himself. Besides, it's not about whether he is a man or a woman, but whether he is a human being. It's understandable that he jumped down impulsively without knowing it in advance, but when Adam told him in advance that it would endanger the safety of others, he still left it to God to choose and jumped down directly. That's not something a human can do. Okay, I just saw it. It fits well, the interval is well left, and the suture is good. Obviously, your pig's trotter is not wasted. Adam patted Carter's shoulder. Carter was immediately excited, and the corners of his mouth couldn't help but curl up. What do you do with your pig's trotters after suturing? Adam asked curiously. Cook it and eat it. Carter smiled. Give away the extra ones that can't be eaten. Cooking it and eating it is too wasteful. Adam smiled meaningfully. Braised pig's trotters are the best way. After that, he walked downstairs. He also had to worry about whether the high-heeled shoe hit anyone. Nurse's station. What? Adam was stunned when he heard that the high-heeled shoe really hit someone, and it was Barney who was about to be discharged from the hospital. He couldn't help but feel a little ashamed. If it weren't for him, the butterfly, with Barney's luck as the protagonist, he would have been able to pass through thousands of flowers without being touched by the poison. Not to mention that he finally survived the fracture and was able to be discharged from the hospital, but was hit by a high-heeled shoe that fell from the sky when he was standing at the hospital gate. The storm he raised by his wings directly overturned Barney's luck as the protagonist. Is he okay? Adam asked worriedly. There was also a person similar to Barney in the past who was also hit by a boot that fell from the sky, and then there was nothing else. The hospital building is not too tall, but it is a high-heeled shoe. If the heel like a cone is stuck in the head, it can also be fatal. He's fine, the nurse said quickly. He was just hit on the head by the shoe and fainted. He has woken up now. I'll go see. Adam breathed a sigh of relief, nodded to the nurse, and walked quickly to Barney's VIP ward. Who attacked me, asshole? I will never let him go. Ouch. It hurts. As soon as he entered the VIP ward, Barney's shouting and screaming were heard. George, leave this to me. Adam walked in and said to George, who was examining Barney. George nodded and left. Barney, just be thankful. Adam stepped forward and smiled while examining Barney. If I hadn't pulled him up in time, it would have been a person who hit your head, not just a shoe. You again. Barney directly blocked the fact that Adam saved his life and pointed at Adam. I knew it. As long as you are involved in anything, I will be unlucky. After several bets, Barney has a certain psychological shadow on Adam. I'm sorry. Barney's brain was smashed. The African-American man standing next to the bed apologized for Barney. Thank you for saving him. I'm Barney's brother James. You must be Adam. You're welcome. Barney and I are also good friends. Adam smiled and nodded at him. Looking at him, I know what you're thinking. Barney saw Adam's eyes and complained. Barney is white and James is African. How can we be brothers, right? I don't think so. Adam smiled slightly. Come on. Barney pointed his finger back and forth at his and James' faces. We are exactly the same. Okay, how can we not be brothers? Yes, we are brothers. James agreed. Come on, brother, give me a high five. Is high five popular again? Barney was overjoyed. Of course. James tightened his tie with the same action as Barney and said in the same tone, I announced it this morning. He looked like a cocky person who was at the forefront of fashion. Nice tilde. Barney was overjoyed, and he stretched out his hand and clapped his hands with James. See? Barney pointed his finger at him and James again. How dare you say we are not brothers? Haha. Adam smiled non-committally. I don't believe you. You grew up together, and your personalities and styles are exactly the same, which is normal. But you, a pure white, and a pure African, say you are brothers. You are challenging my common sense of genetics. Even if you are half-siblings, or half-siblings, you can't be so white and so black. But the same thing. Just be happy. Is Barney okay? James changed the subject. Well, Barney is lucky. It should be just a mild concussion. After a careful examination, Adam smiled and said, but to be safe, we should do an MRI and then stay in the hospital for observation. No, Barney immediately shouted, I've stayed in the hospital enough. I want to be discharged. New York can't be without me. Barney Stinson. Chapter 464 Carter of Dawa Medical Center. VIP Ward. Barney, your fracture is healed. But don't forget that your aphrodisiac has not been completely cured. Adam reminded, don't go out and harm others at this time. Don't lie to me. Barney sneered, I have already inquired clearly. As long as the safety measures are in place, there is no problem at all. So many doctors in your hospital have also been infected. Do you have to wait for half a year? That's different. Adam retorted. You also said that New York can't do without you. Barney Stinson. They can spread more than you. They can, but it doesn't mean you can. Unless you are like Joey. What's wrong with Joey? Barney's eyes lit up. He has also changed his ways now. Adam smiled and told Joey that he had begun to restrain his romantic life in order to avoid a tragedy. Barney, what about you? That's more than 10 years later. Barney didn't care. We'll talk about it then. Then he showed a contemptuous smile. Joey Tribbiani, he's really old. Pray for it. Adam complained. I'll have such good luck next time. Barney, I think you can consider Adam's advice. James hesitated. He is not only your good friend, but also a doctor. He won't hurt you. James, Barney looked at his brother with an incredible look. Don't look at me like that. James smiled. It's just that your luck is too bad. As your brother, when choosing between lifestyle and safety, I will always choose your safety. Good brother. Barney raised his chin and pointed at Adam. If you really want to do good for me, take me away from this hospital and this person immediately. He is my bad luck. As long as I stay away from him, I will be safe and unrestrained. I'm still here, Adam said leisurely. Don't talk nonsense. James smiled and said, how could such a thing happen? Then, he ignored Barney and looked at Adam. Did someone jump off the building just now? Yeah. Adam told the story. That's too much. James was angry. Everyone has the freedom to choose. Whether to be a man or a woman is up to her. Why do outsiders despise her? Adam, you take care of Barney. I'll go see her. Then, holding the high-heeled shoe, he walked out of the ward angrily. He too? Adam thought for a moment. That's right. Barney smiled and said, James is a gay, so we are the best partners forever. Compared with him, Ted is not even worthy of carrying shoes. Then, Adam listened to Barney talking endlessly about him and James, the fighting stories of brothers working together to break iron. For example, the two went to a bar. First, each scanned the other. Barney looked at handsome guys. James looked at beautiful women. Then, James came forward and harassed the beautiful woman who was sitting at the bar drinking, wearing low-waist jeans and with a tattoo on her lower back. Oh, baby, what a coquettish tattoo. Get out of here, you dead hooligan. Even if a woman is open-minded, she will feel uncomfortable with James' direct touch. Hey, hey, hey. At this time, Barney appeared, stepped forward and pulled James away, and said seriously, her tattoo is not to invite others to touch her, but to express her connotation. I believe her inner world is really like a dolphin in the flowers. Adam couldn't help laughing when he heard this, but he also knew that no matter how ridiculous this was, many girls would buy it. This is indeed the case. As soon as Barney said this, combined with his good looks and high-end custom-made suits, the beautiful woman immediately smiled. Then, James got angry and staged a standard conversation with Barney. What are you looking at? What's wrong with me looking at you? Try looking at me again. I looked at you. Don't get excited. You're awesome, okay? As Barney kept pushing his chest closer and thrusting hard into her, James finally raised his hands in surrender, winked at Barney secretly, and walked away in a humiliated way. The great hero Barney was left there pretending to be cool. "Next time he harasses you, tell me." After saying that, he turned around and walked away, counting secretly in his heart, 1, 2, 3. "Thank you, you should stay. Just in case." Within 3 seconds, the beauty really spoke behind him to keep him. Barney turned around and looked at the beauty. After confirming their eyes, he knew that this time the hero saved the beauty successfully. Change places. It's Barney's turn to assist. The routine is simpler. James fell down among the men. Barney called out, "Help." He stopped breathing. "Can anyone give artificial respiration?" James is also a handsome guy. "This place is full of men, and there will inevitably be ugly men who will rush up first, eyes shining. I can. At this time, Barney will directly skip the ugly men who take the initiative and point directly to the handsome guy that James likes. The two brothers cooperate so well. Their most successful case is a date with a pair of brothers and sisters. If James was not in New York, Ted would really have nothing to do. Adam took him to the MRI while listening to Barney nagging about his glorious achievements in the past. Nurse's station. Still thinking about what happened just now? Seeing John Carter in a trance, the little nurse couldn't help but comfort him. "It's not your fault." "Thank you." Carter looked at her gratefully. "You're welcome." The little nurse smiled sweetly. "And if it weren't for you, we wouldn't have seen Dr. Duncan's handsome side." He flew to catch the person jumping off the building, and then a big windmill easily pulled the person back in the air. "It's so handsome, Dot." Carter's face froze. He really shouldn't be polite. In fact, they were not concerned about his mood at all, but wanted to find someone to talk about Dr. Duncan's handsomeness. "Carter, you were at the scene. You should know it best. Describe the situation in detail to me." The little nurse smiled. "Don't you know it?" Carter forced a smile. "Their perspective is different from yours," the little nurse urged. Carter was helpless. The first lesson Adam taught him before was not to offend the nurses. He could only tell the story again. The little nurse interrupted again and again, constantly asking about his psychological activities at the time, and smiled with satisfaction when she heard him shocked and grateful. "You care so much about Dr. Duncan. You should know some things about Dr. Duncan, right?" Carter hesitated. "Of course." The little nurse patted her chest and said, "No one knows Dr. Duncan better than me. Dr. Duncan asked me about pig's trotters and said that braised pig's trotters are the best." "What does this mean?" Carter asked the question he had been thinking about just now. "This." The little nurse touched her chin. Her eyes turned, snapped her fingers, and pointed at Carter. "I know. What do you mean?" Carter looked at her expectantly. "Can you braise pig's trotters?" The nurse looked at him with a smile. "No." Carter shook his head. "That won't do." The nurse waved her hand and said, "When you go back tonight, you must learn how to braise pig's trotters. It's best to learn from a master." "You mean Dr. Duncan wants to eat my braised pig's trotters?" Carter opened his mouth wide. "Wrong." The nurse shook her finger. "Dr. Duncan is a billionaire. He naturally has someone to cook whatever he wants. Would he be interested in a novice's braised pig's trotters? Don't you want to learn from him? He's giving you a chance." "I have to say, Dr. Duncan is really kind." Carter's eyes gradually lit up when he heard this, and he murmured, "I'll find someone to learn how to braise pig's trotters when I go back tonight." Chapter 465, The poor waste electricity, the rich waste their lives. Noon, self-service restaurant. She didn't even know he was married. When his wife showed up, he dumped her. "Look at her dull eyes. I heard she was going crazy." "Whose fault is that? What does she want?" "It's wrong to hook up with the attending physician. Dating Mr. Dreamy. Look at his hair. Who else is more perfect than him?" "Dr. Duncan is obviously more handsome and perfect." "You are wrong. Don't you know they all have daddy complexes?" "I think she's really pitiful. She has to continue working here with him and them. Everyone knows it." Everyone knows it. When Adam came over with the meal tray, he saw that the colleagues around him were all looking at Meredith, and gossip whispers reached his ears. "So, how are you doing?" After Adam sat down, he smiled at Meredith, who was pretending to flip through a book. "I'm fine." Meredith looked at Adam expressionlessly and lowered her head to read again. Although the gossipers around deliberately lowered their voices, their eyes were naked. There were pity and ridicule, like little needles poking her face. How could she not notice it? But as she said at the beginning when she and Dr. Bailey were arguing, she would bear all the consequences by herself. Unexpectedly, it became a wise saying. It was really not her and him, but she had to deal with it all by herself. How envious and jealous she was in the past. How happy she was to gossip about her now. Compared with the current situation, Dr. Bailey had arranged for her to do some heavy and dirty work in the past, which was too kind. OMG. Liz came over, sat down, and rolled her eyes. I just can't stand the Schepters. What's going on? Adam laughed. Meredith Sears stood up at a speed visible to the naked eye. A couple of friends of the Schepters came from Boston. Liz took a bite and said while chewing, Montgomery's best friend's mother died of ovarian cancer and breast cancer a month ago. She went for a test and the mutant gene was positive. A positive mutant gene test does not mean that she has cancer. Adam was surprised. She doesn't want to do the operation directly, right? Yes, Liz complained. The 85% chance is indeed a bit high, but she doesn't want to take any risks. Tomorrow she will have a double mastectomy and a fake breast transplant, and the day after tomorrow she will have a hysterectomy and bilateral oophorectomy. Hiss. Adam took a breath. So decisive? Her husband will definitely not agree, right? If you were her husband, would you agree? Liz asked back. Don't. Adam's mouth twitched. Once these operations are done, even if there are mutant genes, there is no soil for mutation, which does eliminate the risk of cancer, but the sequelae are also terrible. First of all, direct sterilization and infertility. Secondly, skin aging starts in 10 years. Once again, Xinyu will most likely decline significantly, or even disappear completely, and evolve directly to the indifferent state of Leonard's mother Beverly. Then she will have to endure the side effects of silicone breast prosthesis. In the end, these are only the main sequelae, and other unexpected sequelae may follow at any time. The key difference between women and men has disappeared in these operations. As a husband, how many people can tolerate it? She still has a 15% chance of not getting cancer. Adam said, even if she gets cancer, she can still be treated. There is no need to take such a big gamble. Her husband also advised her so. Liz shook her head and said, but she is determined not to take risks. Dr. Montgomery supports her, and Dr. Shept supports her husband. The two sides quarreled fiercely, even more fiercely than the couple involved. This is not the first time. What happened in the end? Meredith couldn't help but interrupt. When the train derailed, she was drunk and hanging a vitamin bottle there. She was dizzy. When she met an acquaintance, she wanted to hear them say a few bad things about her rival, Dr. Montgomery. The word bitch can make her smile. The situation is very good, and she has the advantage. Unfortunately, Dr. Shep's word she is my wife after all. How can I give up directly defeated her. Until now, she still can't believe that she lost. How could she be willing to lose so inexplicably? She is still looking for opportunities to counterattack, and the quarrel between lovers and rivals is definitely the news she likes to hear. Dr. Montgomery asked me to study her and her family's medical history and do a preoperative examination for her. The surgery will be done tomorrow or the day after tomorrow. Liz sighed. Men may get ovarian cancer, and there are ovarian cancer gene tests, but almost no one will do this test. Even if the test result is positive, no man is willing to have a cut to ensure safety. This woman is self-castrating. She naively thinks that her husband simply loves her as a person. Her appearance, figure and other external things are not important. She will definitely regret it in the future, I'm sure of it. Her husband doesn't support her, right? Adam shook his head and said, isn't this a very obvious signal? She doesn't listen at all and insists on having these operations. If they really get divorced, it can't be entirely blamed on her husband. If it is clear that she has ovarian cancer and breast cancer and these must be removed, then it is reasonable for her to ask her husband to support her. But now it is only possible. That's another matter. Love is hormones. If all hormones are removed, love will die. Without love, you can live happily with friendship and family affection. But regardless of her husband's feelings and clear opposition, she insisted on doing it. By then, even friendship and family affection will be greatly reduced. How can such a life be maintained? Dr. Montgomery took a camera to take pictures of her girlfriends. Liz shrugged and said, after the operation tomorrow. She said she would give it to her husband as a Christmas gift so that he would remember it forever. Adam's mouth twitched. People Zhaoshu said, poor people waste electricity, rich people waste their lives. Watching beautiful art pictures and art movies is the life that poor people have to live. Who among the rich people watches this? Isn't it nice to experience it in person? So, you don't support her? Adam looked at Liz. Of course, Liz nodded. She is just doing stupid things. When she really calms down, she will be in pain. She also wants to convince me to support her, but I can't do it. It doesn't matter. Adam comforted, don't force yourself. Be yourself. If you really can't control your emotions, I can do it for you. Liz looked at Adam in amazement. What's wrong? Adam said sincerely, these operations are very complicated and very important. If you can't devote yourself to them, I can help you. Everything is for the patients. Liz threw her drink on the plate, gave Adam 2 middle fingers, and left with the plate. She had never met such a shameless person before. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We are waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 466. The treasure girl who was crying out of anger entered the night. Upon learning that Barney was knocked unconscious by a high-heeled shoe, Matthew and the others came to visit him. I'm fine. I can be discharged from the hospital now. And I won't come back until I'm drunk tonight. Barney lay on the hospital bed, looking at his friends around him with great enthusiasm. But everyone looked at Adam. It seems that he is fine now. Adam looked at the monitor and nodded. See? Barney raised his chin proudly. But Adam changed the subject. It's better to stay one more night and observe. No, Barney shouted. I've had enough of this damn place. I'm leaving here now. Now, everyone, go to the Macallan bar immediately. Sorry, Barney. Ted apologized. I have something to do later, or you should stay one more night, and we will celebrate for you tomorrow night. What is more important than celebrating my discharge from the hospital? Barney shouted dissatisfiedly. I'm going to apologize. Ted smiled bitterly. At noon today, a female office clerk in our project team took out a lunchbox, and I said, great, you bought lunch for everyone. She ran away crying, and then I just learned that she resigned. You are too rude. Ted Mosby, how could you do this? Matthew and Lily immediately condemned. It seems that this clerk is also a big girl. Adam laughed. Yes, Ted said helplessly, I am really innocent. The lunchbox is super big, and there is a chicken in it. A whole big one, except for Thanksgiving family dinner. I have never seen such a big roast chicken. If you were me, what would you think? Go and apologize quickly. Adam smiled. Do you know Monica? What do you think of her? Very beautiful, very hot, very sexy, very perfect? Adam asked, and the remaining 3 men expressed their opinions. But there seemed to be something strange mixed in them. Everyone couldn't help but look at Lily, who had a dazed look. I'm sorry. Lily, who was woken up by her boyfriend, subconsciously wiped the corners of her mouth and smiled awkwardly. They were all old friends, so they naturally knew what kind of person Lily was. After smiling at each other, they didn't continue to hold on to this. She was a big girl in middle school. Adam laughed. Are you kidding? Impossible, everyone exclaimed. It's absolutely true. Adam's mouth curled up. You can imagine the scene of 2 Monicas combined. The current her is only half of her former one. Every big girl is a treasure. So, Ted, hurry up and apologize sincerely. Maybe the big girl who was so angry that she cried and resigned because of you is your true love. Ted's mouth twitched. He really couldn't imagine what that big girl would look like without half. Now his mind is full of the whole her. He really can't bear such a true love. Haha. Adam saw through Ted's thoughts at a glance and teased. Of course, it's okay if you don't want to do this, because no one can say for sure. After you have spent so much energy to help her lose weight and achieve a gorgeous transformation, will she thank you and then turn around to chase some tall, rich and handsome man or domineering president? Impossible. Ted retorted. If I really accompanied her for that period, I don't believe she would treat me like that. Adam smiled but said nothing. Naive. It seems that Ted, who has never watched the bloody dramas in the East, still has a weak imagination. Do you know about Diamond Lover? The TV series comes from real life. Such news has long been common in reality. This is not the worst. What you pay is just the time and emotion of amateur sparring. In this process, your body can also be exercised. In general, it is not too bad to be deceived. Those who work as bricklayers to support their girlfriends to go to college, or the poor people who are really beaten by the society after the plot develops normally. Can you get rewards for your efforts? That's just a beautiful dream. Okay, you can go, but come and join us early. Barney was still in high spirits. Let's go first. Sorry, Barney. Matthew also looked apologetic. I don't have time either. I have to go back to write my paper. Come on, Barney shouted dissatisfiedly. For you, writing a paper is as easy as eating cake. This is what you said when you were eating cake. And we had several parties in a row. But in the end you finished the paper that others needed a whole weekend to finish in the last little time. So, your request is rejected. I don't agree. No appeal. It was like this in the past, Matthew said with a bitter face. But the professor this semester is the most strict ever. What's more important is that she just got divorced not long ago. Now she starts to vent her anger on us. She gave you a B or even B for a paper that could have gotten an A. If you drink like before and rush to finish a B-level paper, it is very likely to be given an F, which is a failing grade. I don't want that. Haha. Adam couldn't help laughing. He understood Matthew's mentality. The lawyer profession, like doctors, must take one step at a time and be steady and excellent enough to succeed in the end. Once you get an F in the paper, you can indeed retake it, but there will be a stain on your resume. For those who just want to get by, this is nothing. But if you want to have a bigger development in the future, this stain will be so conspicuous among all the competitors with flawless resumes, and it is easy to be kicked out at the first time. If this is the case, Matthew will probably not be able to become a New York Supreme Court judge in the future. Everyone lives in fear, Matthew complained. We all said privately that she needs a man. Really? Barney's eyes lit up. You won't be interested in her, Matthew said speechlessly. She is almost 50. So what? Barney skillfully put the hat on. You discriminate against older women? They don't deserve happiness? I don't. Matthew waved his hands quickly. Is she beautiful? Barney interrupted. I guess so. Matthew shrugged. It's a jaguar. Barney stroked his chin and thought for a while, then snapped his fingers. Matthew, I've thought about it. I accept this challenge. What challenge? I didn't say anything, Matthew complained. Tonight. No, Adam interrupted. Then tomorrow. Barney had a new challenge, and he was no longer entangled in being discharged from the hospital tonight. He tightened his tie. I will have a good rest tonight and formulate a cheetah plan. Tomorrow. Operation Cheetah is about to begin. Don't, Adam reminded. You are still under the spell of the charmer. If Matthew's female professor knows about it, what do you think she will say about Matthew's thesis? Chapter 467 Emma Medical Center. VIP ward. No, Matthew shouted in horror when he heard Adam's reminder. Relax, Barney said indifferently. Adam is bluffing you. I'm well. No, he's not. Adam shook his head. It hasn't been half a year yet, and it's impossible to be sure that he is completely clear. There is still a risk of infection. I will take safety measures, Barney retorted. Believe me, no one knows safety better than me. I'm not Joey Tribbiani. I don't want a brat. I won't tell you the information of my professor, Matthew said with a bitter face. Who do you think I am? Barney smiled proudly. No one can escape if I aim at them. It doesn't matter if you don't say anything. It seems that nothing can stop you? Adam sneered. Matthew's future, Matthew and your friendship, are not allowed. Come on. Barney paused, spread his hands and said, how can it be so exaggerated? How does it involve Matthew's future? Do you really not know? Or are you pretending not to know? Adam said contemptuously. Do you want Matthew to tell you solemnly that this is related to his future and life? Barney, seriously. Matthew immediately said seriously. Don't mess around. She is the professor of our major. If I anger her, I may not be able to graduate. You know how much effort I have put into study law. Law schools, Like medical schools, start with undergraduate graduates, and tuition fees are also very expensive. Just look at Matthew's pants. My cousin is a law school student at Columbia University, and he only has one pair of trousers. He only wears them on formal occasions. But even so, after so many times, the pants have a hole. He had no money to buy new pants. He could only use a pen to blacken the hole where the white underwear was exposed, just to make it uniform so that people wouldn't notice it at a glance. That was it. Barney was not considerate of his friend. In order to get Matthew to play with him in their company, he tore the pants and forced Matthew to follow him to buy new pants. Then, he ignored Matthew's financial situation and lied to him that he could get a 50% discount. But when he received the bill, he found that even with a 50% discount, it would still cost several $1,000s. How could he afford such a large amount of money? In the end, he had to give up his dream of volunteering in an environmental protection organization with his idol to make the world a better place, and instead went to Barney's company that was polluting the environment everywhere to help defend these bastards. He made a lot of money, but Matthew was not happy at all, and his professional level did not improve much, because Barney really just wanted to drag him over to play. At work, he often dragged Matthew to deal with the enemy in the opposite building, playing all kinds of pranks on each other, wasting time and life. After Matthew earned enough money to buy a super expensive custom-made suit and almost lost himself and even Lily, he suddenly realized his mistake and left resolutely. What was the point of going through so much trouble? It was just a joke from Barney. Lily and Ted also looked at Barney. Okay. Barney couldn't stand everyone's gazes like this, and said frustratedly, I won't mess around, okay? I hope you can do that. Adam looked at him deeply. Ding-ling-ling. At this time, the phone rang. Rose? Adam answered the phone. Okay, I'll be there right away. After hanging up the phone, he said something to everyone and rushed to the emergency room. Since he was an intern at the medical center, he always felt that the number of his friends going to the emergency room was increasing rapidly. Well, it must be an illusion. Adam. Just as he arrived, a panda man called out in grievance. Rose? Adam didn't recognize him for a moment, and after a closer look, he could barely see some of Ross's appearance. It's really not his fault that he is short-sighted. Ross was not only hit in the eyes, but also had bruises on his face. Even if his mother came over, Adam would have the same reaction. What happened to you? I was beaten. Ross was sad and aggrieved. I can see that. Adam didn't know whether to laugh or cry. But why? Although Ross has a somewhat irritable temper, he is actually a homebody who dares not to cause trouble. At the beginning, he and Chandler were bullied by two bullies and didn't even dare to go to the Central Park Cafe. Later, it was Adam who came forward to solve the problem. Otherwise, the two of them would either drink terrible instant coffee at home or sneak to the Central Park Cafe. No matter how hot the coffee was, they would gulp it down and then quickly leave, for fear of being bumped into by the bullies. Ross, who was so cowardly, only dared to fight with his sister Monica when playing rugby. Even so, he was often taught to be a brother by the more competitive Monica. Adam really couldn't imagine the scene of Ross taking the initiative to fight with others. Well, there is still a picture. That is to say, he pretended to fight, but when he was about to fight, he would pause and put forward various additional conditions. For example, he was not allowed to hit someone in the face. He was not allowed to use his watch as a hidden weapon. Then he didn't care about his own watch and asked if he could use it. Then someone took the opportunity to steal his things, and he chased after him, and finally tripped over the rubber bands that the children on the road were jumping on. It was Minra. Ross said sadly. Puff. Adam burst out laughing. She abused you and beat you like this. Would you listen to me, please? Ross stared at Adam. Ha ha ha. Adam laughed even harder. Ross was really staring at people with a pair of panda eyes. It was too funny. Ross felt sick. Okay, I promise not to laugh. Adam quickly held back and turned to the main topic. Minra, you didn't do it for her, and you didn't even care that Rachel was pregnant with your daughter. How come you are like this now? I didn't. Ross was anxious. I asked Rachel at the beginning. She didn't want to start over with me. Not me who gave up her and Emma for Minra. Has it been decided to call her Emma? Adam was surprised. Yes, Rachel chose it, Ross said helplessly. Originally I wanted to name her Helen. Are you serious? Adam's mouth twitched. Helen Geller, if I remember correctly, Carol was pregnant with your child, and they wanted to name the child Helen, but you directly rejected it. What did you say at the time? Ross's expression was embarrassed. Helen Geller, pronounced very similar to Helen Keller. It was the Helen Keller who lost her hearing and vision due to illness in her childhood, and later worked hard to become a writer and wrote 3 Days to See. Although they were celebrities, as parents, no one wanted their daughter to follow the same path as Helen Keller. It was a bad omen, so he sneered and strongly opposed it at the time. But when it came to Rachel and his daughter, he forgot about it for a moment. This is different, Ross forcedly explained. If Rachel doesn't marry me, my daughter will take her last name. As long as it's not Geller, it's still a good name. Helen Green. Chapter 468. Those who hear it are sad, and those who see it cry. Medical center. Emergency room. Not bad. Adam didn't comment on the name, as long as it wasn't Adam Green or Adam Geller. Let's talk about the beating you got. What happened? I broke up with Minra. Ross, with black eyes and a swollen face, put on a sad expression, which made Adam bear it very hard. Adam didn't say anything, but just echoed with a nasal tone. She dumped me. Can you believe it? Ross's voice rose sharply. After I did so much for her. What did you do for her? Adam asked curiously. Ross paused, thought again, and shouted, I gave her the keys to my apartment, and I also argued for her in front of Dr. Green. But you just changed the lock of the apartment door after giving her the key. Adam kindly reminded, I also know that Dr. Green came to you. You didn't argue at that time. You were cautious on both sides the whole time. I heard that you were sweating profusely. Later, you collapsed on the sofa and almost collapsed. Hey! Ross was anxious and shouted, that was an accident. I only have that one key. I can't go back to the apartment without changing the lock. And when Dr. Green called her by her cousin, I shouted to stop Dr. Green. Just that time, Adam said subconsciously and honestly, and then saw Ross's body shaking, as if he was about to faint, and hurriedly helped him sit down. That's because you're doing your best to protect her. You're really good to her. But she doesn't know how to cherish me at all. Ross sat down and took a few deep breaths. Rachel is pregnant with my daughter. In order to take better care of her and her daughter, isn't it reasonable to let Rachel move in for a while? Yes, it's reasonable. Adam nodded seriously. Alas, Ross suddenly sighed. Actually, it's all my fault. Whether it's changing the locks or Rachel moving in, she has every reason to be angry. I just blame her for not breaking up with me earlier. Adam's mouth twitched. Listen, is this human language? She was so generous as to forgive you, but you took it too far. Actually, this isn't my worst breakup experience. Ross wanted to talk about it, so he smiled bitterly and said, since Carol, I've been dumped in an unspeakable process. That was really bad. I can imagine. Adam couldn't help laughing and said, you didn't propose to her, did you? Of course not. Ross was surprised and said, why do you think so? Because I know someone who did the same thing. He proposed to her in that situation, but it didn't work out, and then they broke up. Adam smiled and said, obviously you were both too impulsive, but he was emotional. Ross nodded, and suddenly reacted and stared at Adam. Let me help you with your injuries. Adam smiled and said, go on. Nothing to say. Ross said angrily, okay. Adam shrugged indifferently and concentrated on treating his wounds. After a while, Ross couldn't help but said, after we broke up, I missed her a little. After all, as a girlfriend, she was very good, but she's not Rachel, Adam said casually. Ross was shocked, silent for a moment, and sighed. Rachel is not Rachel anymore. Adam immediately glanced at him. What do you mean? Do you dislike Rachel for not being able to wear the pink cheerleading uniform? You are a happy boy who was dumped while parking. What right do you have to dislike her? Ouch! Ross cried out in pain. Sorry, Adam apologized with a smile. Are you sure you can handle the injury? Ross asked doubtfully. Why don't you go to another hospital? Adam smiled. Huh? Ross was surprised. Why go to another hospital? Because here, No one will doubt my skills. Adam smiled reservedly. I don't doubt your skills, Ross complained. I doubt your attitude. Don't think I don't know that you have always stood on Rachel's side. I hope Emma only inherits your intelligence and Rachel's beauty. Adam smiled. Ross's mouth twitched. He always felt that Adam was mocking him. Anyway, I missed Monroe a lot after the breakup, Ross continued, so I went to her favorite French restaurant, wanting to reminisce the sweet times we had together. The restaurant was very popular, and I waited in line for an hour before it was my turn. But what made me angry was that the French restaurant refused to let me in, on the grounds that I didn't have a female companion. Puff. Adam burst out laughing again. Really? These days, are singles discriminated against like this? Adam thought that such a tragedy that would make anyone sad and cry would only happen in the future. Really? Ross said angrily. The waiter said that this is the specialty of their restaurant, specially made for goddesses, and you need to be invited by a lady to enter. I used to be with Monroe, so I didn't pay attention, but this time I was alone in line for so long, and no one told me. It wasn't until my turn that they let me leave. Who can stand this? So you got violent? Adam asked curiously. No, Ross said aggrievedly. How could I, a university professor, do such a thing? I presented the facts and reasoned with them, and finally they compromised and sent a waitress to temporarily act as my female companion, and then let me in. Then what? Adam laughed. The waitress was too beautiful, you couldn't help but touch her? How is it possible? Ross rolled his black eyes. If it wasn't for a breath of fresh air, I would have left directly. We don't know each other. It's so embarrassing. Okay, then who beat you up like this? Adam said with a smile. The boyfriend of the beautiful waitress is a super jealous person. Ross said aggrievedly. I just came over and saw this scene, without asking any questions. He punched me and knocked me out. By the time I reacted, it was already like this. If it wasn't for his girlfriend apologizing desperately, I would definitely not forgive him. Yes, Adam teased. If it wasn't for his girlfriend being beautiful, even if she apologized desperately, I guess you wouldn't forgive him. Ross didn't want to talk anymore. Singles are discriminated against, Adam reminded. In the future, it is best to read the signs before entering a store. Not only this store, but also those stores that specialize in brunch. You'd better not go there. They are full of unfriendly attitudes towards singles. I have a friend who likes brunch very much. After breaking up with his girlfriend, when he went there again, the waiter discriminated against him with eyes and words. The sentence "you're the only one" made my friend retreat directly. Later, he couldn't find any female friends, so he had to find a good friend of the same sex to go together, and almost caused a misunderstanding. That's too much, Ross said bitterly. I will never go there again. P.S. Thanks to Top for the reward. Chapter 469 Anaconda Medical Center. Emergency room. Adam treated Ross's injuries. Ross's facial injuries looked serious, but they were mostly external injuries. Of course, the internal injuries caused by the French restaurant were not something Adam could treat. OMG. What happened? When Monica and the others arrived, they were all shocked to see Ross like this. Adam smiled and told them what happened. Too much. After all, he is her brother. Just because she can beat him doesn't mean others can do the same. There are adults in the family. I'll go and teach him a lesson. Monica rolled up her sleeves, looking like she was going to cause trouble for him. Don't get excited. Adam comforted her. The other party didn't do it on purpose. Ross obviously doesn't have a girlfriend, but he still insisted on going to the couple's shop. Ross is also responsible. Is it my fault? Ross couldn't believe it. You are right, aren't you? Adam said with a smile. Your daughter is about to be born, but you don't accompany her mother. Instead, you go to your ex-girlfriend's favorite restaurant to reminisce. When you find something wrong, you don't leave early, and you even drag the pretty waitress to eat the couple's meal together. You deserve to be beaten by her boyfriend. Ross was furious. You are still speaking for Rachel. I have said it 100 times. I asked her at that time. It was she who didn't want to accept me again, not me who didn't want to accept her. Really? Adam looked at him deeply. You may have explained it 100 times, but when you asked her, you only asked once. And it wasn't your serious tone, as if you said, as long as Rachel hesitates, You can retreat at any time. Ask Monica and Phoebe. If they were Rachel, would they agree? Rachel was pregnant and lived alone in Ross's apartment. They didn't ask her, so she didn't come. Of course not. Monica and Phoebe shook their heads immediately. Women are very sensitive to this aspect, and they know whether they are sincere or not. As for whether she would be cheated, it all depends on whether she is willing or not. Rachel obviously also wants to save face. And Minra, Adam reminded. If I remember correctly, you just asked Rachel and got together with Minra that night? How do you know that Rachel didn't go back to you after she rejected you? What? Ross was stunned. Rachel came to see me? No one knows about this. Adam shook his head, because if she had, then she would have gotten together with Minra immediately after seeing you just asked her, and she would probably just leave quietly. Rachel, Monica and Phoebe called out with empathy. Again, Adam sighed. You're too fast. Ross was speechless, not to mention Adam's ridicule of his physical side. In terms of emotions, he was indeed fast. It wasn't the first time that he got together with Minra just after asking Rachel. At the beginning, he and Rachel had a breakup, and they just broke up at night. And then he immediately went to the bar and brought back a woman. This is the real seamless connection. Ross, you are already in your 30s, Adam advised. Even Joey is restraining himself. How long do you want to hang around outside? In the past, you always complained that Ben was raised by a pair of lesbians. Now there is this opportunity to let Emma face a normal and happy family as soon as she is born, but you just brush it off and are not willing to make more efforts. Is this appropriate? Ross opened his mouth to speak, but was unable to refute. Adam is right. Monica put her arm around Ross's shoulders and agreed. You should think about this issue carefully. Yes, Phoebe also agreed. You are each other's lobsters, destined to be a pair. Ross's mouth curled up. This lobster joke was the words Phoebe used to encourage him when the six of them just got together and he was madly in love with Rachel. Think about it carefully. Adam patted Ross's shoulder, gave a few instructions and left. Ross is not the only patient in the emergency room. Mr. Harold, what bit you? Adam walked into the clinic with the medical records. Yes, pet snakes. A fat, silly-looking white man was sitting there. Pet snakes. Adam was surprised. What kind? Americans are very playful and dare to keep all kinds of pets, and they pursue novelty and weirdness. Many pet snakes are not non-toxic snakes, but highly poisonous ones. For example, cobras and the like. This is what ordinary people avoid, but they like to keep them at home. Some don't even isolate them, just hang a few branches on the wall casually, imitating the forest environment, and let those long snakes coil there. If there are too many snakes, if you don't pay attention, you will probably treat these snakes as pendants and think they are quite novel and beautiful. Then take a closer look, maybe you will have a heart attack. Golden eyelash rattlesnake. The silly white fat man smiled silly. Adam's mouth twitched. Don't mention the golden eyelash prefix and the rattlesnake suffix, but it is a well-known highly poisonous snake. The other party was bitten and was still so happy. It was really silly. Mr. Harold, do you feel weak, nauseous or have chills? Adam asked. No. Mr. Harold shook his head. Where's the wound? Adam asked. Mr. Harold stretched out his arm and asked innocently, do you want to see my little baby? Yeah? Adam's eyes narrowed. You brought it here. Then he immediately noticed the paper bag next to Mr. Harold and subconsciously took a few steps back. This was his instinctive reaction to poisonous snakes in his previous life. Yeah, Mr. Harold smiled and brought the paper bag over. Snakes are cold-blooded animals, so I put it on the heat lamp. Hey, it was here just now? How come it disappeared? How long is it? Adam asked while looking around. 3 feet. Mr. Harold replied. Damn, that's a snake about 1 meter long. Carol, notify the animal control department immediately. Adam cursed in his heart and quickly ordered the nurse, and notify all medical staff, let them pay attention to safety, and then inject Mr. Harold with anti-venom serum. Yes, Dr. Duncan. Nurse Carol immediately called to notify. Wait a minute. Looking at Mr. Harold's silly smile, Adam twitched the corner of his mouth, motioned him to wait, and then walked out of the clinic. Monica, Chandler, Take Ross back first. Adam found his friends and told them about a big poisonous snake swimming in the hospital. OMG. Ross and the others wanted to leave the hospital immediately, but Phoebe looked at Adam with a worried look on her face. How are you going to treat this pet snake? She looked worried about the snake. Don't worry. Adam knew that Phoebe was like this, and smiled as if it was nothing strange. We have notified the animal control department, and they will handle it properly. That's good. Phoebe was happily taken away by Monica and the others, after Adam sent them away. When he came back, he found that hospital staff were searching. There were so many people in the emergency room, and there were many children. If they really had to wait for the animal control department to come, God knows what would happen. Peace. There is only one chapter at noon. Chapter 470 Black Humor Medical Center. Emergency room. When Adam was about to go find Matthew and the others, another ambulance had already arrived, so he had no choice but to give up. Matthew, Lily and the others should have left too. Dr. Duncan, the nurse called over there. What's the situation? Adam immediately went to meet him. 12-year-old male, multiple gunshot wounds in the legs and abdomen. We rushed here, and the intravenous drip flow rate is at the maximum. The emergency personnel pushed the trolley and reported the situation quickly. 2 liters of infusion. No pulse can be detected. Hurry up and push him into the number 1 treatment room. Adam ordered while trotting to observe the patient's condition. Prepare type O blood. Hang up the transfusion tube. Do hemoglobin and hematocrit tests. Oh my God. The nurse responded quickly, and her peripheral vision swept over the boy on the operating table, and she couldn't help but exclaimed. Drive-by shooting? A nurse couldn't help asking. No. The emergency personnel who had already handed over the task gasped. The exclusive product transaction fell through. The blacklist thing. But he's only 12 years old? The nurse couldn't believe it. When he was found, he had a 9mm submachine gun and a Ruger on him. The first aid worker said and left. They are first aid workers, and they also depend on the volume of business, and they race against time. Hearing this, Adam glanced at the boy's dark complexion and sighed in his heart. The welfare here in the United States is amazing. It is vividly shown in the American TV series Shameless. If you have any strange diseases, such as agoraphobia, you dare not go out. As long as you get the doctor's approval, you can get a welfare. With this welfare, there is no problem not working, and you can also get monthly welfare benefits if you have children or adopt children. As long as a shameless person has enough children, he can live a very chic life with the welfare benefits of these children. Anyway, even homeless people are supported by various charities. Even if they eat and wear worse, they will not starve to death. Shameless people don't have to take care of those children except for the monthly welfare. Even if those children work hard, they can earn money at a young age. As a father, he can also snatch the money and have fun. This kind of shameless person refers to old white men. When it comes to African Americans, a magical scene happens. Normal African American families, even if they have many children, cannot receive welfare benefits, unless they are single-parent families. And only the mother can raise the children. Even if the father pretends to be away from home, there are special people to check at any time. Once the father is found at home, there will be no welfare benefits. It seems to encourage African American men to go out and have fun. I will support your wife and children. However, if a family has no father and is only raised by the mother, even if there is welfare, in order to better raise a group of children, the mother still has to go out to work. At this time, this group of children who are not taken care of have been mixed in the streets since childhood. Even if they can't run into their fathers, they will meet their father's kind, uncles and aunts. So, what their uncles do, they have done since childhood. And what can they do on the streets? So, this forms a vicious circle. Few African American children can break free from this stable vicious circle. Obviously, the one Adam is rescuing is not one of them. At the age of 12, they have a submachine gun in one hand and a Luger pistol in the other. How can they hold a pen to read and write, even if they want to study at first? Do they have money? It takes many years for hard work to bear fruit, and depravity is just a matter of a gun. Few adults can have such determination, let alone children. Thinking about these things in his mind, Adam is still doing his best to rescue him. Once he stabilizes, he will be sent to the operating room immediately. Although surgery can be performed here, the sterilization environment and sufficient equipment are completely incomparable to the operating room. But considering the nature of emergency treatment, it is also normal. Outside the clinic, there is a visitor in the emergency room. "What do you want?" John Carter changed his clothes and was about to go back to work. Braised pig's trotters. When signing in at the nurse's station, he noticed the visitor and couldn't help asking. It's not that he is nosy, but that he is kind, because the other party is an African-American child in his teens, wearing a red hat and a ragged sports jacket that he didn't know which adult picked up. It was so bloated that it was almost dragged on the ground. The African-American boy looked around everywhere, as if he was looking for someone. Carter saw it and naturally wanted to help, but the boy seemed not to hear him and continued to look here and there. "Are you looking for your parents?" Carter asked loudly. The boy still did not respond, and pulled open the curtain in the middle of the large ward, took a look and left. "Hi." Carter chased after him and patted the boy on the shoulder, but then he froze there, because what greeted him was not the boy's smiling face or confusion, but a black muzzle of a gun. The African-American boy casually took out a pistol from his ridiculously large coat and pointed it at him. What made his back colder was the boy's expressionless look. This was an extreme indifference to life. Carter dared not move. He had no doubt that the boy dared to shoot. "Oh, God, little guy, don't get in the way. The African-American boy simply showed his cards directly and walked forward with the gun in hand. Whenever he met someone, the other party would either be silent or terrified when he pointed the gun at them. They all dared not move, not even to shout. The African-American boy went through one clinic after another. Finally, he came to the clinic where Adam and his friends were. "Who told you to come in?" When the African-American boy pushed the door open, the emergency nurse scolded him subconsciously, and then stopped there. Adam was passively in bullet time the moment the other party came in. He took a look at the other party and immediately judged that the other party had the intention to shoot, although the gun was aimed at the patient on the operating table. But Adam still decided to shoot. At the critical moment, the clamp in Adam's hand was thrown out heavily by Adam. In bullet time, the African-American boy holding the gun had just touched the trigger. The clamp, which was accelerated by Adam, had hit the African-American boy's arm holding the gun like a cannonball. HMPH. A muffled groan came out of the African-American boy's mouth. For pain, a child in his teens showed amazing endurance. The expressionless face only frowned slightly. Even so, the pistol had already dropped to the ground as the palm reflexively loosened. The arm holding the gun was slightly twisted under the strong bombardment, and it was definitely broken. Adam ran from the operating table and reached out to grab the other hand of the African-American boy who was still trying to take back the gun in this situation. The powerful force restrained the other party. But facing the other party's unyielding and indifferent eyes, Adam hit the other party's neck with a knife, and the force was just right to knock the other party unconscious. Notify security. Adam kicked the pistol under the table and quickly returned to the operating table. Let's continue. Please. I have something tonight. Please forgive me. Chapter 471. This picture is so strong. Medical center. Emergency room. The scene is so magical. Even action movies of this era dare not act like this. So many people can't react. Adam took off his contaminated gloves and stretched out his hand to signal the nurse to bring him new ones to wear, but she stayed there, motionless. There was no way. Adam could only do it himself. Quickly put on new latex gloves, and continue to rescue. This is a life. Adam can add 0.01 years of life, which is 3.65 days, 0.65 days more than the 3 days Helen Keller called for. Clamp. With this time buffer, the nurses who were used to life and death finally came to their senses, re-entered the rescue state, and quickly responded to Adam's instructions. After a while, the hospital security guards with live ammunition came over. Obviously, the medical staff who were afraid to move or shout in the corridor when the African-American boy pointed guns at them also notified the security guards. "It's safe now. Come in and wash the floor." "No, take him away." The nurse saw the security guards peeking outside, with a posture of saving his life first, and couldn't help rolling her eyes. Huh? Only then did the security guards dare to look inside a few more times, and found the killer fainted on the ground, and they were surprised. What happened? The killer was easily dealt with by Dr. Duncan. The nurse said proudly, "Take him away and put him under custody quickly. Don't let him affect Dr. Duncan's rescue of the patient." WTF? The security guards were stunned and shouted out the classic me-style exclamation. "Where's the gun?" The security captain was the first to react and ask the key question. "It was kicked under the table by Dr. Duncan." The nurse pointed. "Wait until the operation is over, and then send someone to get it. After tying him up, find someone to check his arm." Adam reminded without even looking up. "Right," the nurse hurriedly explained. "This killer is super cruel. After Dr. Duncan broke his arm with a clamp, he only groaned and used his other hand to continue to pick up the gun that fell on the ground. You must be careful." The security guards looked at each other, as if they were listening to a myth. "Forget it. You keep him under guard, and I'll talk about the treatment after I'm done with my work." Adam noticed the doubts and disbelief of the security guards, and looked up at the security captain. "Don't let other medical staff get close to him to prevent him from attacking. A killer like him can kill people with his mouth, so don't doubt his ruthlessness." Hiss. The security captain and Adam looked at each other, and saw the seriousness in Adam's eyes. After he was sure that this was not a joke, he couldn't help but take a breath. "Everyone be careful." When the security guards heard this, they immediately raised their usual prudentness from 95% to 99%. That cautious posture was praised by Jinxing Li Chengang, and Han Paopao was so experienced that he didn't dare to hit him with a club. Most of them would directly use the wind and thunder escape thousands of miles away first. There is no other way. If you are a security guard in the United States and don't practice the self-protection skill to the point where the skills are close to the Tao, then you will really make money but not live. After the security guards left, after a while of rescue, the vital signs of the 12-year-old African-American boy who was chased to the hospital were finally temporarily stabilized. "Is the operating room arranged?" "Operating room 3 is ready," the nurse quickly replied. "Dr. Green is also here." "Okay, you hand over the gun to him," Adam told the nurse, nodded to a security guard who stayed behind, and pushed the patient to the operating room. "Let's go to operating room 3. Operating room 3, preparation time." Adam and Leonard were cleaning and disinfecting there. "Damn, another shooting," Leonard complained. "I heard that Ross and the others were there before." "Fortunately, my Rachel didn't come. Ross was." Adam laughed and told Ross's embarrassing story. "Ha ha ha." When the old father-in-law heard that his cheap son-in-law was beaten up, his mood instantly became extremely bright, and he was so happy. "You deserve it. You got Rachel pregnant, but you refused to get married. You deserve to be beaten to death, you bastard." "You can't be beaten to death," Adam said jokingly. "Emma still needs a father." "I have a feeling that after this, Ross and Rachel's affairs will probably turn around. Maybe your granddaughter Emma won't be illegitimate." "Really?" Leonard couldn't help but speed up the pace of wiping his palms with disinfectant soap 10 times. "Don't look at him looking down on Ross." "But that's comparing Ross with Adam." "Ross is still very popular in the eyes of the older generation of Americans. Born in a middle-class family, he is a doctor and university professor at a young age. He is really good. His precious daughter Rachel is not young anymore. It's really not easy to find such a good friend with good conditions and a deep emotional foundation to start a family. Of course, the most important thing is that his granddaughter Emma will be born soon. As a father and grandfather, he has nothing else to ask for as long as his granddaughter is not illegitimate." Ross is really not comparable to Adam, but among all the boyfriends that the second and youngest daughters have found, none of them can compare to Ross. If he hadn't thought about it, he would have been pissed off. "Yeah." Adam wiped the disinfectant soap, nodded and smiled. "It's just my guess. It's not certain whether they will do that." "I believe your guess," Leonard said happily. "I'll have to trouble you to help Rachel jump the queue and find a venue." "Haha." Adam smiled. "Don't worry, I guarantee Rachel will be satisfied." The two finished cleaning while talking and laughing, half raising their hands, and used their bodies to push open the door and walked into the operating room. An operating nurse had already stepped forward to put surgical gowns in front of the two, walked around behind them, fastened the surgical gowns, and then handed them latex gloves and asked them to put their hands in. These are standard procedures to ensure cleanliness. Leonard took the initiative to stand in the position of the first assistant and smiled at Adam. Adam looked at him with gratitude and took the position of the main surgeon. Everyone was used to it. They even forgot that this was a special treatment Leonard gave to Adam. The controversy that had arisen at the beginning of the internship had long since vanished. "Let's get started." "Scalpel." Adam gave the order. The entire operating room moved instantly. The operation went smoothly until halfway. Naturally, they entered the chat session again. The topic was still the shocking blacklist hunting incident. Everyone was afraid of the cold and cruelty of the African-American boy. Then they complained in unison, "The hospital's security is too poor. There was a shooting last time. This time so many of us were pointed at with guns. Will we be shot directly next time? The hospital has so much budget every year, all for their patients. If it were me, I should first buy a security scanner and put it at the entrance of the hospital to prevent someone from coming in with a gun. If the safety of our medical staff cannot be guaranteed, how can we better treat patients and save lives?" That's right, don't worry, it will be there soon." Adam smiled when he heard this. "Dr. Duncan is going to tell the dean?" The nurse's eyes lit up. "That's great. Dr. Duncan is willing to say it. The dean will definitely listen," a nurse said excitedly. "Maybe." An older nurse shook her head and said, "But this year's budget has already ended, and next year's budget will have to deduct the backup generator purchased this year. Even if the dean agrees, I'm afraid it will have to wait until the year after next." "Don't bother, I'm going to donate to build one," Adam smiled. Everyone looked at Adam, as if they saw a pair of sunglasses, a big gold chain, a cigar, and a mysterious crooked smile. P.S. Thank you for the reward from the defective mobile phone. There is only one chapter at noon today, and the other one has not been coded in time. There will be 2 chapters in the evening. Please forgive me. Chapter 472. The female detective arrives. Medical Center. Operating Room 3. As soon as Adam mentioned the donation, everyone had a picture in front of their eyes and seemed to hear the background music in their ears. In the future, when the security guards see Dr. Duncan, it will probably be the same as when the laboratory staff see Dr. Duncan. After a long time, a nurse sighed. Haha. Everyone smiled knowingly. Before Adam came to the hospital for internship, he donated a laboratory to the hospital. The medical center has one more laboratory, so naturally they have to hire more staff. This is the reason why the nurses can jump the queue every time they mention Adam. Being handsome can only speed up the testing process. Only those with money can jump the queue unscrupulously. In fact, this is normal. Think about the tragedy of Leonard raising funds for a centrifuge worth millions of dollars for the Department of Physics at Caltech, and going to accompany the teacher, and finally being destroyed like that, and coming back early in the morning with the wall. You can understand the power of money. Not to mention that afterwards, when Leonard arrived at the college, he was praised by the president and public for sacrificing the small self for the greater self. Everyone applauded enthusiastically. The president whispered in Leonard's ear, "Believe me, I understand how many sad stories did the president of a world-class prestigious university have to go through in order to attract sponsorship to make such a sigh. A rich man like Adam invested real money in the hospital, which is not just a matter of more job opportunities. It truly improved the heart strength of the hospital. There are tangible benefits for all staff. After all, the better the medical center, the more the medical staff working here can expect to increase their wages and benefits. At least there is no need to worry too much about layoffs." Change to a smaller hospital. If Adam is willing to invest $100 million, he can become the chairman of that hospital. Even if it is a medical center, he can be an important director. But Adam is unwilling to do this, because the hospital has its own rules. Even if he is the chairman, his power is not as great as imagined. Without the support of the majority of the board of directors, he can't even fire a doctor. Of course, the chairman can threaten to leave with the $100 million investment to force the majority of the board members to support him, but the premise is still that the majority of directors are willing to compromise and support. Adam came here to study medicine, not to perform a hospital workplace drama. Donating a sum of money to build a laboratory is enough. If he really wants to spend $100 million directly, it is estimated that Adam's hard-earned reputation will be discounted by industry insiders in the future. Adam seeks stability. The rules are there. No matter how much money he spends, he can't be promoted from an intern to an attending physician all at once. It's not worth it at all. In the case of today, donating a security scanner will also provide more protection for the safety of all staff, including Adam himself. He can also gain more gratitude from all staff. This scale is the best. The operation was successful. After the end, Adam looked at the system prompt plus 0.01 with a happy expression. Dr. Duncan, there is a female detective named Beckett looking for you. The nurse looked at Adam playfully. Very beautiful. Where is she? Adam smiled. Clinic room 7. With the killer boy, the nurse said. I see. Adam nodded and walked towards clinic room 7. The hospital security guard standing outside the door took the initiative to open the door for Adam. Kate, why are you here? Adam walked in and greeted a tall, short-haired beauty with a smile. This is a murder case, so it happens to be my responsibility, right? Kate came over, took the initiative to hug Adam, and teased, why, don't you want to see me? Normal people don't want to see you if there's nothing wrong. Adam smelled the familiar smell and teased, just like they don't want to see us doctors. That's hard to say. Kate hugged him for a long time before letting go, with a smile on her lips. Once you become more famous in the future, there may be extreme fans who may self-harm in order to see you more. Who made you, a guy who can obviously make a living with your looks and talent, come to work hard as a doctor? I hope not, Adam said helplessly. Curing diseases and saving lives is more meaningful. I just want to be a good doctor. Kate's words made him a little alert. It seems that in addition to being high profile in the medical industry, he should try to be low-key to the outside world. He also gave up editing and distributing the open class in the way of making a movie. Otherwise, it would provoke extreme fans and stage self-harm incidents to ask for a meeting, which would have a very bad impact. As a female homicide detective, Kate was very sensitive and foresighted about this kind of thing. She probably saw the signs and gave a half-joking and half-reminder. Thinking of this, Adam gave Kate a grateful look. Are you sure you want to be a good doctor? Kate and Adam looked at each other. Seeing that Adam understood her reminder, he smiled happily and teased, why did I hear that you did all the work of our police? Wow. You knocked down the killer's pistol with a clip, flashed in front of the killer, stopped the other party from continuing to use the gun to commit crimes, and then simply knocked the killer unconscious with a knife. You tell me, this is a doctor? I had no choice. Adam smiled bitterly. He was about to shoot at that time. I couldn't just sit and watch my patient being killed, right? You had to do the work of our police. Kate smiled and said, if this word gets out, many people in our bureau will definitely come to you to have a good discussion. No need to spread this word. Adam smiled and said, as long as you come to me a few more times, someone will definitely come to me to discuss it. Are you afraid? Kate raised her eyebrows. Do you think I'm afraid? Adam smiled. Hee. Kate smiled and said, I'm afraid that even if they challenge you alone, they can't beat you. You're too abnormal. They don't know. Adam gave a look that said you know. Kate's defense was broken and her face turned red. I'll treat him. Adam stopped his magic at the right time and walked to the killer boy, who looked at Adam and Kate on the bed expressionlessly. By the way, is the one sent in alive? Kate asked. Yeah. Adam nodded and began to check the killer boy's arm. He casually said, a lot of people died this time? Small cases usually don't alarm Kate. 8. Kate sighed. He killed 4. Adam glanced at the killer boy, who was still calm and indifferent, and shook his head secretly. 8 people died, and this killer boy alone accounted for half of them. It's not that he is so powerful, it's just that a child like him is hard to arouse enough vigilance from others. Once he is cruel enough, he can catch the other party off guard and be very lethal. Imagine that a child was riding a bicycle crookedly and turning in circles. What a normal scene. But when he rides past you, he suddenly pulls out a gun and shoots at you. Except for Adam and some lucky guys, anyone who encounters this will be doomed. Peas. There is one more chapter to come. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, It means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We are waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 473 Super Unlucky Guy, Medical Center. Clinic Room 7. After Adam treated the killer boy's injuries, he exchanged a few words with Kate and left. It's not that he didn't want to get together, it's just that he really didn't have time. Kate was busy with the case. Adam was busy with various surgeries and accumulating knowledge. Alice Gray was like a super large experience package. And Adam was a robot, high-definition image-like memory, evolving the computing power of the universe and the stars. As long as Alice Gray's super large experience package is loaded, with the robot-like physical attributes, he can perform surgery stably and efficiently. Adam will quickly approach the level of a legendary doctor. This is a super talent that others can't achieve even if they have their own special treatment. Kate sent Adam out. How are you going to deal with him? Adam asked. It depends on the situation. First persuade him to cooperate. Kate said. What if he doesn't? Adam asked. Then he will probably be sent to prison for more than 15 years. Kate frowned. Americans mature early, so juvenile crimes occur frequently, forcing the states to lower the age of not bearing criminal responsibility again and again. Many are 12 or 10 years old. Some states have no age limit. As long as you commit a crime, you will be sent to prison. Many people have a record of juvenile crimes, and many of them have become successful later. Therefore, in American TV series, when the police are looking for suspects, they usually search in the criminal database, match those with criminal records, and regard these people as the first suspects. Everything is the difference between 0 and 1, and the same is true for crime. Finding suspects in this way can greatly reduce the difficulty of handling cases, because as long as you have committed a crime, there are various records, which are easy to compare. But if the person has no criminal record, he can completely refuse your request to cooperate with the investigation. Judges usually do not sign compulsory execution orders, because that is easy to cause troubles such as human rights and freedom. So sometimes, it is obvious that the person is the murderer, and even arrogantly hints that it is out, but the police are very frustrated and helpless. Fortunately, such people are rare after all, and the criminal database of the U.S. police is extensive enough. As long as they match, they can usually catch them. Of course, the premise is that the police who handle the case are very powerful, the kind of powerful police who have the aura of the protagonist. Otherwise, no matter how rich the database is, they will still be at a loss. It's such a magical realism. Kate, do you know any retired police officers who are good, careful, responsible, well-connected, and need a job? Adam asked. What do you want to do? Kate looked at Adam in surprise. My company is about to recruit such a person. Adam smiled and said, specially responsible for tracking the follow-up progress of the killer boy just now, such as his background, when he was imprisoned, when he was released from prison, what his mentality is, whether he has used improper means to reduce his sentence, etc. The work is not tiring, the income is high, and you can take care of your own people. You set up a position specifically for James, the killer boy. Kate said speechlessly. It's better to be prepared. Adam smiled and said, it's not easy for us doctors. This is not the first time, and it won't be the last time. For safety, it is necessary to hire such a person to keep an eye on people who have contact with me and may be hostile to me. Besides, I don't need this little money. Hiring him is also to provide jobs and stimulate consumption. If you don't have your own recommendation, I'll let the headhunter do it. I have, Kate said quickly. Just kidding. This kind of job is definitely the best of the best jobs. It doesn't even require a dedicated retiree, as long as you have a wide network of contacts and are well off. It's just a matter of a greeting. Giving it to anyone is a big favor, so naturally you have to keep it for your own people. Haha. Adam laughed. Damn capitalists. Although Kate didn't know the law of true fragrance, she also knew that her change was a bit embarrassing, and she couldn't help but laugh and scolded. I didn't realize before that you, a writer and doctor, would know so much about this kind of thing. It's true that you become bad when you have money, Adam smiled but didn't say anything. Why hire a retired policeman with a wide network of contacts to be in charge of this matter? Because he has enough connections. Many things are handled by him. It is extremely difficult for outsiders, but he can do it with just a word. It is the same as those people in the West who are responsible for supervising various industries. After retirement, they all go to the large companies that are supervised, hold empty positions such as consultants, and earn millions or tens of millions of annual salaries. There are also CEOs of large companies who resign and become the head of the regulatory department responsible for supervising the large companies. You come and I, we are all family members, and we supervise ourselves. Just ask, is it a horse for quorum or not? Although Adam despises this behavior, it does not prevent him from learning to do so. It is still the old saying, business is business. And Adam is not doing anything else, just the most basic right of human survival. It makes sense. Not shabby. Kate thought about it seriously and recommended someone from her family. Okay, I believe you, Adam nodded and said, but let him go to work as soon as possible and monitor all the developments of this matter. Don't worry, Kate smiled and said, this matter has become so serious. The bank pile where James is will definitely be hit hard by us. They don't have the energy or the courage to trouble you. Be careful. Adam shook his head. Okay, I know, Kate said seriously. He can go to work tomorrow. After the two hugged each other, they went about their own business. Adam thought that this was another anaconda and another black humor, and he was not sure that Matthew and Lily had definitely left. So he went to Barney's VIP ward to take a look. VIP ward, James, you see, this place is too dangerous. We must leave immediately. At worst I can go to other hospitals, as long as I don't stay in this place. This place is too unfriendly to me. Barney was persuading James, wanting him to agree to leave here. Do you promise to go to another hospital after you are discharged? James hesitated. After a series of accidents, he was indeed a little confused and worried. I swear. Barney raised his hand. Okay, I'll go and help you with the discharge procedures. James nodded. Yes. Barney was overjoyed and started dancing. Who is James? Being good at singing and dancing is a basic skill. Seeing his brother so happy, he also started dancing. A pair of romantic brothers, dancing in celebration. However, the twisting body startled a golden figure. When Adam walked outside the ward, he suddenly heard Barney's scream and rushed in immediately. Then he almost laughed out loud, but he saw that there was an extra tail behind Barney's butt. At first glance, he thought Barney had become a super saiyan. Looking again, it was the missing golden horned rattlesnake. How can Barney be a super saiyan? He is clearly a super unlucky guy. It's like Huang Feng who met Hong Chi in the movie Dong Cheng Zai Ji. Chapter 474 Night Chat Case Medical Center. VIP ward. Adam, save me. Barney screamed for help. Stop swinging it around. Adam reminded him, trying to stop Barney from swinging his tail like a dragon. But Barney was so scared that he kept swinging his body, trying to shake off the tail on his butt, and he couldn't stop at all. Adam had to calculate the amplitude, and grabbed the golden horned rattlesnake by the 7 inches of lightning, forced its mouth to open and pull it off. Go get the anti-venom serum. Adam pinched the rattlesnake and ordered the nurse who came over. By the way, call the staff of the animal management department. Yes, Dr. Duncan. The nurse responded and left. I'm dying. I'm dying. Barney glanced at the whole rattlesnake that bit him and screamed in fear. Adam? James said anxiously. Don't worry. Adam smiled and said, this snake just bit its owner, and the toxicity has been greatly reduced. It will be fine after injecting the anti-venom serum later. James breathed a sigh of relief. You're still laughing. Barney pointed at Adam. James, take me away from here. If you don't leave, I'm really going to die here. I'm not laughing at you. Adam smiled. This is the professional smile of our doctors to calm patients' emotions. Not directed at you. I don't believe it. Barney is also an old man. How could he be dismissed by Adam's explanation? He knew Adam was just laughing at him. Okay, Barney. Adam didn't pretend anymore, and said with a smile, we are all friends. Seeing that you are so funny, what's wrong with laughing? Haven't you laughed when your friends are embarrassed? Barney was stagnant. He is an expert in this kind of thing. That's right. Seeing that Barney was speechless, Adam smiled with satisfaction and said to James, "My smile shows that the problem is not serious at all. Do you want to see me serious?" Haha. James couldn't help laughing when he heard it. What patients and their families want to see most is the doctor's smiling face, not the solemn face, because it represents good news and bad news. The staff of the Animal Management Department had already come. They had been searching everywhere with the hospital staff. After receiving Adam's message, they hurried over to collect the golden-horned rattlesnake in Adam's hand. The nurse also injected Barney with anti-venom serum, although Barney was yelling that he wanted to leave this damn place. But after listening to Adam's words, James felt that he should stay in the hospital for observation. After all, a concussion and a venomous snake kiss are not a joke. The medical center is the best hospital and it is the first-hand diagnosis for Barney. It would be a joke to transfer to other hospitals at this time. Adam didn't care about it. As long as his words came, Barney could stay or leave as he pleased. Besides, Adam also felt that Barney and the medical center had some conflicts. If he stayed longer, he might really become a comedy character. And it's not a normal comedy, it's a nonsensical comedy. The discharge was the central god Wang Chongyang coming out of retreat. The sneak escape was the encounter between the western poison Yuang Feng and Hong Qi. God knows whether Barney will have the encounters of the 5 great masters of the East, West, South, North and Central. To be more ridiculous, there is another admirer of Dongfang Bubai, Mr. and Miss Carlton. The high-heeled shoe that almost killed Barney was sent by him. According to Zhubotan's brain hole logic in the movie East is a Clash of Clans. If James shouts something at that time, it will be fun to watch, but it is terrifying to think about it. That night, Adam's special meal of Alice Gray continued. It was almost over in the early morning. Ding-a-ling-a-ling. Adam's phone rang. Before he took it out, it rang 3 times and then stopped. "Let's stop here today." Adam smiled and ended the special meal. "Why don't you see who it is?" Liz asked curiously. "No need." Adam smiled and said, "There are many harassing calls like this. It's better to hang up on your own initiative." Haha. Meredith laughed with an ambiguous meaning. As an old driver, she is intuitively sensitive to certain things. She knew there must be something wrong here. Haha. Adam glanced at her and laughed. "The beauty has an appointment." Christina's eyes flashed with wisdom, and she pouted. "It must be the long-legged beauty detective who came here today." "No way." George showed an expression of envy and jealousy that he didn't want to believe. "I don't know." Adam smiled calmly. "This is not a problem we should care about. Everyone should go to bed early. We have to get up early tomorrow morning to make rounds. We should say this to you." Meredith mocked. Adam smiled at her. As an abandoned mistress who had just been publicly executed, Meredith couldn't stand others being carefree and happy. Adam understood, so he didn't blame her. And he didn't have time to say more to her now. He had to rush back and study the case with Kate. It seemed that this murder case must be very difficult. Otherwise, Kate would not be willing to miss even a clue. It was late at night, and she had to drag Adam, a doctor who had little to do with the case, to talk about the case at night. Alas, it's not easy for policemen and doctors. Help if you can, Adam thought compassionately. The next day, it was 4:30. It was still dark. Adam got up as usual. "I'm leaving first." Adam played with the police pistol, holster and badge. He found the badge especially useful. He took it out and put it on his chest with one hand, and he could immediately scare the bad guys. It was really special. He smiled and put these things back on the bedside table. Then he picked up the leather jacket on the ground, the jeans in front of the French window and other clothes and put them beside the bed, and put the high heels on the bed back on the ground. Then he said to the bulging figure in the quilt, "Yeah." A lazy nasal sound came from the quilt. As the saying goes, if you have a plan in mind, you won't be in a hurry to do things. Last night, we talked about the case, and with Adam, a super genius, helping to analyze and reason the case, all the difficult parts of the case were cleared up. Therefore, Kate was in the mood to sleep in, instead of rushing to the police station to work overtime. Medical center. Dressing room. "Don't be too aggressive during the ward rounds later." "Why?" "Don't ask, just trust me." "Haha. You don't believe me, do you?" "Don't regret it then. I have a big treasure. Really? Watch my eyes when the time comes. Meredith, stop being in a daze. You too. As soon as Adam arrived, he heard Christina whispering to Liz and Meredith. What are you talking about? Adam walked over and smiled as he opened the locker. Nothing. Christina's face changed when she saw Adam, and she immediately stopped talking. She winked at Liz and Meredith and left. Haha. Adam saw it and immediately understood. Christina must have found a good surgery from somewhere and was worried that Adam would come to steal it. I hope it's not a very good surgery, otherwise. Girl, face the wind. Chapter 475 Contrast. Medical Center. Green Clinic. Adam, you are in charge of Mrs. Kimberly Gracewood's case. Leonard ordered. She has a history of heart disease and has undergone many operations here. This time she came for a coronary artery bypass surgery. He is in charge? Isn't he too young? The old woman on the bed was applying lipstick in front of the mirror. After hearing Leonard's words, she looked at Adam with scrutiny and frowned. Is he really a doctor, not an actor? You are not filming a TV series here, are you? I do like to watch Days of Our Lives. Dr. Derek Claymore is very cute. But what I need now is a real doctor. I dare not let a doctor like Claymore treat me. Kimberly, let the doctors do their job. The old man standing next to him interrupted. The old woman immediately glared at her husband. The old man suddenly kept silent. Mrs. Gracewood, Dr. Duncan is the best intern here, and the best intern in the whole country. Leonard smiled and said, don't worry, he's in charge. No matter how good he is, he's still an intern. The old woman curled her lips. Adam, is there anything I should pay attention to during Mrs. Gracewood's surgery? Leonard asked routinely. Because Mrs. Gracewood has undergone multiple heart surgeries, the scar tissue is too deep, and the heart is too weak to be repaced, so we can only fix the part that needs surgery, perform the surgery under local anesthesia, and keep the rest of the heart beating. Adam replied. Very good. Leonard smiled and said, take Mrs. Gracewood to do a nuclear scan first. If everything is normal, we will do the surgery in the afternoon. Yes, Dr. Green. Adam nodded. This sword is a little small, and not as bright as last time. Alan, pillow, lean on it. The water is warm. Give me some ice. Open the curtains. It's too stuffy in here. What is this? Where's my new pajamas? Pass me the tissues. No, wait, the hospital is full of bacteria. Get me the hand sanitizer from the suitcase. After Leonard left, the old woman began to command her husband Alan around. This scene immediately reminded Adam of Amy's father and mother in The Big Bang Theory. Although not many details of life were shown, Amy's father avoided his wife in various ways, and made a face of hanging and suffocation to his daughter Amy behind his wife's back, and you can imagine it. And now, this should be a panoramic display. It turns out that henpecked husbands are everywhere. Mrs. Gracewood, shall we go for a nuclear scan now? Adam looked at the old man Alan with sympathy and interrupted. Okay, the old woman responded indifferently. Adam pushed the wheelchair and sent her to the nuclear scan room. Alan, walk carefully. You bumped into my wheelchair. I'm sorry. Alan, hold my purse. Got it. Don't rummage around. Okay. The staff of the nuclear scanning room took the wheelchair at the door and went in. The old man took a long breath and began to complain to Adam. She never knows how to say please and thank you. Adam just smiled and didn't agree. Unexpectedly, the old man got excited. For many years, I have tried hard to calm her down, but she just keeps talking like this. You know, everyone thought she couldn't survive the first operation, but later she had 3 operations. 10 years have passed, and she is still fine. At this point, the old man smiled, very helpless. Adam even noticed that he looked back, as if he was worried that his wife would hear him. She is still alive. Everyone says it's a miracle. What do you think? Adam interrupted. Well, the wedding vows say that we will survive in sickness and health, right? The old man laughed at himself. Mr. Gracewood, you can take a break first. Adam reminded. We'll see you later. Okay. The old man was stunned, and realized that he might not be able to say this to his wife's doctor, so he nodded quickly. Adam nodded and smiled at him, and left first. After the nuclear scan is over, the staff will notify him. Dr. Duncan. A young nurse waved at him. Mary, what's wrong? Adam smiled and walked over. Haven't you heard? The young nurse gossiped. A pregnant man came to our hospital, and now everyone is rushing over to watch. How can a man be pregnant? Adam laughed dumbly, and then thought for a while. Unless, it's true. The young nurse swore. His belly is as big as his wife's, and I heard that the pregnancy test results just now also showed that she is pregnant. Dr. Yang's case. Adam understood immediately. Only such a strange case would make Christina so concerned. No, the nurse shook her head. I heard that the internet registration office sent him directly to the psychiatric department. He didn't do a thorough physical examination. Then he was discovered by Dr. Yang and stolen from the psychiatric department. Now the psychiatric doctor has come to the door. Both sides are competing for this case. Which ward? Adam was shocked. Ward 12. The nurse Mary said immediately. Mary, thank you. I'll treat you to good food next time, Adam said with a smile, and under the young nurse's smiling gaze, he hurried to Ward 12. Click, click. When Adam arrived, a group of doctors and nurses had gathered outside the ward, all looking inside, and the sound of cameras came from inside. Just as he was about to go in, he bumped into Christina, who squeezed out of the crowd. Hey, where are you going? Adam asked curiously. Christina rolled her eyes, her face darkened, and ran away with a pager. Obviously someone called her. Adam squeezed through the crowd and walked in. He saw a young man lying on the bed. His belly was exactly like a pregnant woman who was about to give birth. The staff of the medical center were taking pictures with cameras. Next to them, Liz and Meredith stood on the left and right, leaning towards the camera and showing a standard smile. Stephen, do a comprehensive examination, including tumor testing. Gray, your pager is ringing. Go. After assigning the two people, Dr. Bailey calmly walked to the pregnant man with a ruler and measured the size of the man's belly with a ruler. When the camera started shooting, her head turned skillfully, her face automatically focused, and she was captured by the camera in the most professional posture and very naturally. Her level is far from being comparable to Liz and Meredith, who deliberately posed for photos. Adam couldn't help laughing when he saw this scene. Because of the special nature of the man's suspected pregnancy, these photos will definitely be selected into the hospital's medical monthly and case report monthly, and may even be displayed at the medical annual meeting. That is an opportunity to show his face in the industry. The contrast formed by the skilled appearance of a moral role model like Dr. Bailey is particularly funny. P.S. Thank you for the reward from the defective mobile phone. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.